sorry, that you said you emailed it to me?
Mhm.
Thanks. One of those Verizon update pins today. And I was having problems with it. It's automatic.
That's the worst.
With the updates.
I did the recent one because I was just. It's like, it takes forever and. Just do it when I go mad.
So Debbie, you're all set up to.
I am, yes, we're
Okay,
all good.
perfect.
We are all ready to move.
See it real.
I even have the app. It's been here. Or the hours.
That's right, that's right.
Right.
Younger, I was old. Well, it's usually we're still.
Pronunciations. We have Minos, Queen, Gardner, Trella, Teo.
Otto,
Otto,
right?
Sima,
That's right.
Sima, Mr. Sima, did I say it correctly?
King Simon.
As I say, call me anything but late for dinner. He's been called worse, right? Yeah. Unfortunately, right.
And we have Steve Pop Warner.
Yeah. My familiar face.
Hey.
I have. Did I put it in the right place?
That's a great person. Matches the face. Thank you. You know, this. The hard copies of the documents available.
I think they do that. I was reading. Take the police department. They were somewhere in the mailroom, someone said. Yeah, right. You just need a giant monitor, a whole wall, projector. Yeah. I just have a tiny.
We'll pop the old and front end.
Yeah. Yeah. I haven't had one in case here.
Oh, okay. Oh, you totally do.
Yeah. Bob, where do you, if the new gentleman is here to be sworn in, do you put him in new business before, oh no, we have to do.
Should do it before the roll call, right?
Yes.
If he's
Yeah.
here, so then he could answer the roll. And then, if it makes sense, we could announce this before we go into the first one. Announce
Sure.
the carry on Minebrook. I can let them know, let everybody know the notice is good. And,
Just as we.
no, we're gonna carry it at the front end.
So it's just this one.
Ixnay on well, we had this, but then we do have, well, we're gonna continue with this one. We're gonna do that one, and then I assume we'll stay in the order, and we're gonna do the lot line and then continue with that one.
Yeah.
But we're not gonna finish it. The plan is- well, it was- I mean, it was unfortunate circumstance with the needs. And that and the holiday.
They want to. I think they want to present it. That doesn't mean they want suggestions.
Well, they understand we're not gonna finish.
Right. We can make people to. I don't see any. Denise normally says, let me know. If we make. Well, and we also. Continue.
Robust.
Yes.
As long as they can fire. Yes. Oh, we did. Yeah, that was an interesting,
I'm stopping for the regular board secretary. Where do you put the?
Usually over here or there.
We didn't get any regrets from anybody.
Not that I was informed of.
Right, that's part of the question.
Denise did respond to email, so.
Yeah.
Would let us know. Sure.
Oh, so we need 5 staff
Yeah,
just to do anything.
anything except adjourn.
Right.
The chatting.
Yeah. Chad, you may know what you and or Jane. I can't imagine it's Rachel's calendar. You know, just got. That's not paid. Bob, you got one of these, right? The stormwater plan
I picked one up,
this afternoon, yeah. Okay, no, I just wanted to be sure that we. Oh, yeah. What about Mary Jane?
Texted Nancy to ask, Nancy a little.
Yeah, I don't know if it was Nancy or that, he was getting into anything.
It was Nancy, well, I talked to her yesterday, and she didn't mention anybody, I get it, good receiving, I noticed that. Because we're not being attendance now.
Oh, for 7, not this long.
Thank you. What that down cash where it's going.
So Dave, you said you asked Nancy to contact Mary Jane?
I did.
Probably had a dinner meeting, figured out, I can make it, get out, yeah. Oh, it's. Oh, it's freaking. What, did you have her?
No, I mean.
Yeah. I can't remember if she said she had. We can wait a long time, actually. Oh, great, they chatted on everybody, so we'll make it.
Yeah, it's on its way.
The chat's on his way. Oh, he is? Oh, okay, thank you. Told somebody here. Okay, thank you. The other board.
2 minutes ago, they said we're here in 2 minutes.
Hey.
You had a breath.
Well, yeah, community crisis just opened their new.
Oh.
So they had a. Do that.
Oh, there is she.
Yeah. Well, boy, I'm going about it next door neighbor.
Yeah.
First on.
We didn't know. We're waiting for a quorum, so one more.
They said they're on their way. We all applaud when the next board member.
No, Chris is sick.
Chris is sick.
Yeah.
I remember.
Oh, Mark, yeah. he said he was- Oh, there he is. I don't know, did we have to get sworn in?
Yeah.
Why don't we do that? Can we do that?
Any swear in?
I can swear in right now. Oh, but once we open.
Oh.
Oh, we have to open, okay.
So can we open without, with four? No. No, I take that back. You know what? You can open and I can swear them in and then we'll have a forum. Yes, yes.
Oh, there you go.
So we can do that.
You can grab your run of report,
Yes, we're on the board.
all right? Adequate notice of this meeting has been provided by posting copies thereof on the municipal bulletin board on the main floor of the municipal building and on the municipal website. Faxing copies thereof to the Bernardsville News and Courier News and filing a copy thereof with the municipal clerk on January 2023. It's
Sorry.
this proceeding is also, I'm winging this, but this proceeding is also viewable on YouTube, streaming. and the YouTube address. It's YouTube and it's Bernardsville, Borough. It's the intention of the planning board not to continue any matter past 11 p.m. at any regular or special meeting of the board unless a motion is passed by the members then present to extend the meeting to a later specified cutoff time, and same shall be announced at the opening of the meeting. In addition, the board does not intend to begin a new hearing after 10:15 p.m. nor begin testimony of a new witness after 10:30 p.m. Any hearing conducted by the board is a quasi-judicial proceeding. Any questions or comments must be limited to issues that are relevant to what the board may legally consider in reaching a decision. The quorum appropriate to a judicial hearing must be maintained at all times. Those two,
We're gonna do the oath first.
I think.
Okay, I'll ask our newest board member to please approach. Raise your right hand, please, and repeat after me. I state your name.
I, Mark Walden,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution
that I will support the Constitution
of the United States
of the United States
and the state of New Jersey,
and the state of New Jersey,
and that I will bear
and that I will bear
true faith and allegiance to the same
true faith and allegiance to the same
and to the government
and to the government
established in the United States
established in the United States
and in this state
and in this state
under the authority of the people,
under the authority of the people,
and that I will faithfully,
and that I will faithfully,
impartially, and justly
impartially, and justly
perform all of the duties
perform all of the duties
of planning board member
of planning board member
according to the best of my ability,
according to the best of my ability,
and that I will not use my office
and that I will not use my office
to grant preferential treatment,
to grant preferential treatment,
nor to seek personal gain,
nor to seek personal gain,
favor, or advantage
favor, or advantage
not available to the general public.
not available to the general public.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations, welcome.
Oh, thank you.
Come on up.
Believe it or not, that was the easy one.
Did you want it? There's.
Yeah, we don't want, he doesn't have to sit in
Welcome, Mark.
the kiddie table. You can sit here.
Don't worry, it's like Thanksgiving. It's fine.
Did that for you. We have the same. Yeah, we have that in secret.
Oh, I just didn't wanna.
So nobody's sitting. Go for it.
She's not coming.
Great. So now we can take roll.
All right. Mayor Knos,
Here.
Mr. McQueen,
Here.
Ms. Gardner is absent this evening. Ms. Kellogg is absent this evening. Mr. Otto, did I say?
Yeah.
Currently absent as well. Mr. Simoff,
Here.
Vice Chairman Horowitz,
Here.
Chairman Brown,
Here.
Chairman Everforth.
Thank you. Okay,
What did you announce for this board?
Yes,
Okay, I missed
but
my.
did I not? Oh, maybe I did not, Mr. Walden, I'm sorry.
Yes.
Here, yes.
all right. Excellent. There are no meeting minutes to, draft minutes to review and approve. There are no communications. Are there any visitors that we have, that wish to discuss any new business that's unrelated to what we have on the agenda today? Normally answer is no. No, all right, there'll be a second, chance later. We have no old business, we have no new business, which should be bills as well. So we are right up to, item H, which is public hearings, and the first one we have is the Nagala and Whittam, lot lines. Go ahead, did you want to?
The chair,
Oh, No, that's all right. Before the-
If, we might make an announcement, I think, the Minebrook Road Urban Renewal Associates LP for Minebrook Road. With the chair's permission, that application, is going to be adjourned and carried. But first I will announce, that I did have an opportunity to review the notice for that application. The content of the notice was sufficient and the notice was timely served. It was certified mail served on November 17th, published on November 15th, both at least 10 days prior to this evening. Thus, the board would have jurisdiction here and decide tonight, but the board also has jurisdiction now to carry that matter to December 14th, 2023, same 7:30, the same location, without further notice. That's without further notice. So if you're here for that matter, I suspect the chair will tell you as well. You're welcome to stay for all the other matters, but we want to make that announcement right up front.
Do we want to take the vote now to move it, or do you want to do it later?
To carry it?
To carry it, yes.
We can do it by way of motion second and or voice vote.
Mr. Moore, I assume that was at the request of the applicant.
Oh, I'm sorry. That was at the request of the applicant, and that request was provided in writing prior to this evening.
Thank you. I'll move the carry to the December 14th meeting. Second.
All in favor?
63 Bernards Ave, is that the one we're talking about?
No,
No.
Which one?
we're talking about across the street from the store.
Yeah, this would be the Minebrook Road
Minebrook Road.
with no specific
I know
address.
it was on the agenda,
Oh,
Yeah,
this
this
one,
the second-
Minebrook Road,
The
yes.
number one is number 3.
right?
Block 80, lot 15.38, that's the one that at the request of the applicant carried. I think there might be multiple
Oh, there's another one.
Minebrook Road, little matters on that each.
Yes, they have three.
There's several with the same name, that's.
Yes, that's correct. And this one we're pushing.
We started
They're all going to.
we started the one on Bernards Avenue for the last meeting.
Correct. That's resuming on the 14th.
Okay,
This is also carrying to the 14th.
It's still gonna be.
The third one, which is the Mount Airy, we're pushing to next year.
okay.
But we didn't finish our voice with
Yeah.
the motion and second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? None, okay.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
It's on the rail, okay. So the first application tonight is regarding a lot line adjustment with variance for Magala and Whittam. So come on down.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Is it appropriate place for the board?
I think it'll work. There's an X there, but yes, that's fine.
Oh, okay. Apologies, I don't mean to be too close if I am. Michael Brown, on behalf of Brady and Coriel, I'm here tonight on behalf of the applicants who are with me, Robert Scheid, as well as Christine Magala, and the other applicants who are not here tonight, but it's Marie and Michael Witt. And tonight we are looking for a approval of a lot line adjustment. It's obviously between two lots. One lot being the Magala lot, which is situated on block 90, lot 10. And that lot is in the R2 zone, commonly known as 601 Minebrook Road. Second lot, the Whittam lot, I apologize, is block 90, lot 1. And that lot is situated in the R1 zone and is commonly known as 24-3 Douglas Road. So tonight I have for the board, like I said, Robert Scheid, Christine Magala, as well as our engineer, Jeff Gary. I hope it does not take too much of the board's time. We are literally looking for an addition to the Magala lot of 17,848 square feet. And I will have the applicants come up if that's okay to be sworn in to provide a little bit of background and the reason why we're actually here tonight. Christine, Robert, if you guys would like to.
And Mr. Chairman, if I may, I'll address the jurisdiction very quickly, and then I can swear all the witnesses in as well as our board professionals. If we have an opportunity to review the notice, found content to be sufficient, found it to be timely served, certified mail on November 17th, published on November 20th, both at least 10 days prior to this evening. The board does have jurisdiction to hear and decide the application. And we have two witnesses and an engineer.
We do.
All right, if you can all stand, raise your right hand as well as our board professionals. Do all of you swear to God or affirm that the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? I do. Yes. Thank you all. Back to you, Mr. Chairman.
Back to you.
If it's okay, I'm gonna have you guys move a little bit closer over to me, so maybe the microphone will pick you up. So again, for the record, could you guys both please state your name?
My name is Christine Magala.
My name is Robert Scheid.
And where do you both live?
601 My Brook Road.
And you guys are the owners of that property, correct?
Yeah.
Okay, excellent. So we're here tonight, as I had stated, for a lot line adjustment or minor subdivision, as we call it. So how long have both of you lived at the property or owned the property?
A little over 2 years.
And since the time since you took title or ownership of the property, you guys made any improvements to the property other than what we're here for tonight?
No.
No, okay. So, members of the board, to be fully transparent, we did have a pending application for the Board of Adjustment. And the reason why we had that application was my clients were seeking approvals, variance approvals, actually to install a pool in the rear yard of their home. They do have 2 younger children, so it would be a family pool. It was something they were looking to enjoy. However, as we were going through our variance review, we realized there was a number of variances that were required. And to be honest with you, we actually sought out the kind of consult as well as conference with the widows to see if they were interested in selling a portion of the rear of their property, because these 2 lots abut each other on the rear end of one another. And the whole purpose of that was to essentially create more compliant lots within both zones. The Wyndham lot is actually oversized for the zone, so they had more than ample square footage, so to speak, on their rear lot line, and to be able to give or to sell over to my clients. And the purpose of that, again, was to avoid the number of variances that we had kind of discovered if we were to go the Board of Adjustment route. And admittedly, we did that, again, assuming, and we hope that the municipality boards would appreciate having compliant lots is a little bit better than generating all these variances, especially for something like a pool. So in addition to getting rid of some of these variances, as you heard, my clients have not improved the property, so the existing conditions that you see on your plan tonight were there when they took ownership of the property. They are over on impervious coverage, again, a pre-existing condition, but as you'll hear from our engineer, the plan is to actually, again, make a more compliant lot. So we're taking up existing impervious coverage to bring it into conformity. And again, that was because we did not want to have an issue when hopefully our clients eventually go to get their pool to generate another variance. Instead, we thought, let's get a lot line adjustment. Let's get the appropriate amount of square feet. Let's make sure that all of our kind of bulk variances line up with one another, or bulk standards. So that way they can simply go and get a permit. So that's why we're here tonight. And Christine and Robert, I kind of took the wind out of your sails a little bit, but you do have children, correct? And how many children do you have?
We have 2 children, an 8-year-old boy and a 5-year-old girl.
Okay, and as I kind of said, or kind of took it out from underneath you, purpose is obviously to install the pool, correct?
Yes.
And we do have a plan kind of already for the pool.
Yes.
And that pool is going to be used as a family pool, correct? Great. So it's really for the enjoyment of the family.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you very much. I believe that's all I have for my clients this evening. Members of the board, if you have any questions at this time, of course, they'll be here if you want to reserve any questions for later.
And I'm sorry if I missed it. I'm assuming there's an agreement in principle to sell.
I do apologize. Yes, we actually are under contract right now. So it is pending, obviously.
Pending planning board review.
Correct.
Yeah, so the neighbors are good with it.
They consented the application. They are applicants themselves, but I didn't want to drag them out here tonight because they're simply selling a portion of the lot.
Mhm.
So there wasn't much testimony other than the fact, I apologize for missing that they did agree and there is a pending contract for a portion of the sale.
And they're actually on Douglas, so it's the back piece of theirs that's the
Yes,
side.
it is.
Got it. Yeah.
So it's 2 kind of rear abutting lots, so to speak. And again, my clients are here for any other questions from the members of the board.
And you do the R1 or 2, is that right?
So isn't that the Douglas property is in the R1, right?
R1, Mr. Chairman, correct.
Yeah.
And my client's
So-
property was in the R2.
And so this would be buying a piece of the R1 and appending it to
R2.
the R2.
Would be.
And it's just straight back, right? I mean, you're just going back.
It's just right on the rear lot line. It's a little bit of an odd shape, so to speak, Mr. Chairman.
It's this little piece.
Yeah.
The back.
Where's your engineer?
Sorry?
Well, for the next witness. right?
Yeah. So let's hear from the engineer.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Better explanation.
No problem.
Okay.
Any other questions? No, you guys can go ahead and take a seat.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay. Tonight, I have Jeff Garion. I would like to offer him as a expert in civil engineering.
Can you spell your name? Egarian. And, you're licensed engineer, licensed practice in New Jersey?
Correct, license is in good standing. And I feel like testified before the board, other than the past year or so, but I've been before.
Can you give your address, your business?
Business address is 271 Route 46, Fairfield, New Jersey.
Defer to the chair.
That's fine, thank you, we'll accept it.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And Mr. Garion, if you kind of want to just go ahead and start kind of going through your plan, which has been submitted to the board, that'd be great.
And Mr. Chairman, perhaps we should just first confirm that I think Mr. Zabel, you had some checklist items on the report. And so technically, we want to make sure the board consents to the waiver before we proceed much further. I just want to interrupt the fact witnesses. So now that we're with the engineer, perhaps that could be addressed on pages 1 and 2 of the Zabel's report of November 8th.
Some of the checklist items are the result of waivers being requested by the applicant. They were specifically specified in the application.
Okay.
I personally, reason for the lot line adjustment to proceed, but I'll prefer to the engineer to see if there would be something required as part of the application.
Now, Mr. Chair, I think there's enough here to proceed, the lot line adjustment. We did comment, the only thing, I don't know, John, did they ask for the waiver of the properties within 300 feet?
Listen. That would be included as part of the checklist.
Was there not sufficient notice on?
And,
Was there not sufficient notice?
No, they noticed, it's not on the plan, the adjoining.
yeah, you do have it in the report. They requested the waiver.
And the applicant of the final plan will have that we're looking for, put it on the final. Yes, condition of approval if the applicant board approves the application.
Absolutely, Mr. Boyd.
Okay.
And any other conditions, obviously, regarding revised plans, you would have it for as far as resolution compliance. And in anticipation, because I know one of the checklist items was that showing structures or of adjoining properties, I actually do have an exhibit here tonight, which is just an aerial exhibit from Google Earth, which I did today, which I thought would kind of provide a little bit more of a benefit for the board to kind of see exactly where this property is, I apologize, and where the adjoining kind of properties are and where the structures are situated on those lots.
We can call it exhibit A, one with the chair's permission, you can distribute it.
Sure.
We got a few copies.
I did.
And based on Mr. Bradley and Mr. Zabel's advice, can we assume the board is comfortable proceeding and granting the checklist waivers for purposes of proceeding with the hearing?
I am. It's heavily treed out there, but we'll get to that.
Okay, thank you.
Apologize for the interruption, but Jeff, you want to go ahead?
Sure. So I'll just go through the plan itself and the existing conditions. So this is the subject property down here. And this is the original lot lines. What we're asking to do is convey a portion of lot 1 to lot 10. The area in question is 17,848. This is this area right here, this small area beyond this heavy dash line.
So, sir, are you referring to the plan that was submitted with the prior to this evening dated April 13th, 2023, last revised September 5, 2023?
That's correct, yes.
Okay, just for the record, you don't have to mark it as an exhibit. Thank you.
Okay. So essentially what we're gonna be doing with the conveyance of property and gaining the rear yard, the additional area, we're gonna be extending the rear yard by approximately 100 feet. The new lot area for lot 10 is gonna go from 51,707 square feet to 69,500 555 square feet. The lot one area is gonna be reduced from 271,751 square feet to 253,902 square feet. Both of these lots will still conform to the bulk requirements of the zones. So there are no variances being requested for the lot line adjustment or the conveyance of the area. In addition to the new lot area, the hatching here on the existing survey is indicating what we're proposing to remove, as a result of the plan itself. We're removing 2,824 square feet of existing impervious, which removes an existing non-conforming impervious coverage condition and bringing the property, further into compliance and now conforming with the impervious coverage requirements.
Were you describing the impervious in front of the house? Is that what you were, or you?
Throughout the entire property.
Throughout the-
We're removing a portion of the driveway, a portion of the rear patio, and a little concrete pad on the side yard.
Okay,
And the property in question is a sort of trapezoidal shape,
Yes, sir.
piece of property on the.
Yes, yes, especially 66 feet on the east side and about 100 feet on the west side.
Your conformance calculations are based on the new lot or the existing lot?
It's on the proposed lot area.
Okay,
Gregarian, in addition, I know it's a pre-existing condition, but there is in fact a deficient driveway side yard kind of setback, is that correct?
That's correct, yeah. The existing conditions on the side yard, originally, the driveway was 1.5 feet off of the side yard. We're now proposing to, increase that area to 5 feet by removing this portion of the driveway that is hatched.
Is it fair to say that it would be difficult to kind of take it all the way to the required setback and still have a navigable driveway that's desirable for our clients?
It is, yeah. We did look at that, quite a bit, and maneuverability and, functionality of the driveway at the 10% setback would have been very difficult.
But as the board heard, again, my clients have only owned the property for 2 years. It's a pre-existing condition, so we are trying our best to move it further into conformance, although we could not get there essentially all the way. But again, the goal of kind of this application and Mr. Gregarian's plan with the consent of our clients is to try to bring this property further into conformance so they can go ahead and hopefully go ahead and move installing the pool without causing variances kind of everywhere, as we recently discovered.
so this application has nothing to do with the pool.
It does not, sir, because the goal admittedly was to create a lot by way of this lot line adjustment, in which we took up the impervious coverage and pursuant to the pool plan that our clients have, they would actually hopefully be able to go in and simply get a permit as of right. That was the intention.
So I'm just making sure that we're getting clear. We're approving the total amount of impervious, does that require a variance?
No,
I just want to make sure they don't have to come back here in 6 months.
we were very careful in taking the pool plan and calculating the impervious coverage, where the amount that we took up is still in conformance once they put it in the pool.
So this current plan will include all impervious coverage without variance.
Correct.
Thank you.
It leaves enough room, sir, for essentially the pool to go in without necessitating a variance. That was the purpose.
but you're still seeking the 5 foot versus 10 foot?
We are, Mr. Chairman, and again, it is 1.5 foot right now, and we're bringing it back to 5, and that was realistically the most we could do with the pre-existing condition that was there when my clients bought the property, with the driveway to still make it as functional and maneuverable for them as they could with their
Chair,
vehicles.
can I comment on that? The board and really for the applicants, that could also, there was an addition put on that property back in 2006. And at the time, the application for that was, they conformed with the 10-foot driveway setback. They conformed with impervious coverage, so there's no variance granted.
All right,
So if they're gonna go to a 5-foot setback, really should be
a
a
variance,
variance to
exactly.
protect them. So.
I guess I'd like-
Conforming setback.
Yeah, I'd really like to hear more about why you can't comply with a 10-foot setback.
And if I
On the
could just
side,
add, that they did notice for the variance.
That's
They asked for
okay.
notice for it, so that the board has a jurisdiction to.
Still wondering why.
Should it so desire, but absolutely,
They're not-
need to hear why.
Mr. Gehring, could you speak to kind of the shape of the driveway as it is now and how it would be existing and proposed?
Sure, so the driveway, the alignment comes down, from south towards the west side of the property. The setback for the home is 30.8 feet from the side yard. You need 24 feet minimum to back out of a driveway, to back out of a garage space. If we move this driveway in 10 feet, the maneuverability is not gonna be there to maneuver cars. And that's the reason, that's the basis for which we analyze the alignment of the driveway, for that space. It's just, in my opinion, it's gonna be tight and not functional.
Not convinced. Not convinced. You've got a large, I mean, you're gonna remove a lot of this impervious, but you can drive out of that, you can back out of that driveway all the way back to where you then do a K-turn onto the driveway itself. You can back out of the garage and then K-turn onto the, your actually existing.
So what is the setback? How much driveway do you have to the west of the building, to the house?
The setback here is 30.8 feet.
That's a side loaded garage.
Yes.
And it's a two-car garage?
It's side loading?
Yeah.
It's on the side of the house.
Yeah.
So when you go up the driveway,
Yeah,
go onto off the asphalt onto the pavers. And then you go to this section alongside the house, and the driveway is, you have to make a right turn to go into the driveway. Into the garage.
it's a side loading garage.
Yeah,
The garage doors are on the west side of the house.
Correct.
yeah.
Okay, and.
Yeah.
And Mr. Brightly, I guess I'm just curious, so if it was approved in 2006 without variance, was there unintended changes to the final delivery of the building?
It didn't come to either board, didn't come to a board for that, but, it was reviewed, for building permit. And they elected to go with to meet the orders, the 10-foot driveway setback. And
And they built something different?
they
Well, they
expanded
missed it.
the
They
driveway,
creeped up.
which is, I guess they probably couldn't get in and out.
That's right. It's probably why they did it.
Yeah, because the car, is it a two-car garage?
Three
Three-car. So the car has to be straight by the time it gets in the front of the car, you out of the garage. That's the problem.
Yeah.
No, now that I know it's side loading,
Yeah.
that makes it pretty evident.
And did you plot the template for the garage, entering and exiting the garage with the driveway that you proposed?
You mean vehicle,
Terminated.
yeah, we did that, and that's how we ended up exactly where we are. I wouldn't recommend increasing that driveway further away from the property line, for that reason alone. It's already tight with the template, our templates are very conservative.
Use the ASHTO templates?
Yeah, everything's based on the ASHTO.
Okay. They are conservative. They call it a 19-foot car.
Is there a fence along that property line between the neighbor? Between their pool, for instance, the pool is, that's what's right next to your garage.
It would be a fence, there's a fence there.
Is it a, is it a,
Again, I'm asking the obvious, I'm assuming the proposed pool will adhere to the setback requirements of the pool and impervious coverage.
That'd be correct. Again, we needed the additional square footage for impervious as well as kind of pushing back that rear yard setback, where as Mr. Marion said, we're adding 100 feet.
Areas, driveway.
Without being repetitive, and these were the conditions that, my clients essentially inherited upon, the transfer of title, buying the property. So, the difference between what was permitted versus now is there. I'd like to say, you know, my client's kind of hands are clean on this, so to speak. It's an unfortunate thing that really only came to light when we started drawing up these plans for them. So, Mr. Chairman, as you were saying, but that is
No,
the
no,
rationale for our variance.
I understand.
Yeah,
And now that I know it's sideways, and that explains it.
no, I apologize for not calling that
No,
out
no,
earlier.
it's okay. I just- Any questions from the board for the engineer? No. Okay, our professionals too.
Well, I'll defer first to the engineer and planner, and I'll go down if
Okay.
necessary.
So our office prepared a review memo on October 25th, 2023. Then in here, Anthony address. Want to go through it?
Just hand it over for it, Mr. Gary, so kind of go through it.
You want to start to see the main comment?
Yeah. I noticed there's some minor discrepancies in the square foot calculations, got your surveyor Jack.
Yeah, absolutely.
I talked about the prior building permit application from 2006. So 2B would be a variance, I indicated variance is required for that project. Yeah, just for clarity, I think on your lot coverage calculations, you have existing and then you have removal. I think that's proposed. Is that what you're proposing for your lot coverage? You're not gonna remove 9,700 square feet.
That'd be proposed, Mr. Sprague.
I mean, that's the net of the removal.
There's a table, it's a lot coverage. There's existing and then there's removal.
And removal is what's being proposed, Mr. Chairman.
That's correct. It's just
The net after the removal.
I'd like to just have
Clarify that.
proposed.
no problem.
So. These are then standard comments for a,
Can you stipulate the 4 through 9 as conditions of approval if the board grants approval?
The comment number 9?
Comments 4 through 9.
Oh.
Their
Oh,
plan
yeah,
revision, Somerset County Planning Board approval, subdivision deed meets and bounds being recorded, board attorney approving. Correct.
there's a,
Somewhat usual.
there's a surveyor certification that needs to go on.
Surveyor,
Yep.
And also, I don't know if it's on there, Bob, but any subdivision along a state highway requires DOT. I'm not sure a single family does.
You need to let them know issues, but.
Yeah. And it shouldn't be a problem because the lot width doesn't change.
Right, the driveway access.
Right.
We could word it, DOT letter of no interest if necessary.
No problem.
Technically, you're subdividing Douglas.
Yeah, but
Right.
any lot that you require a subdivision along
No, I
state
understand.
highway, so.
Yeah,
Just so you, it's,
it's adding, it's aggregating, not subdividing. That's all.
but it's still a subdivision.
On Douglas,
Yeah.
yes, on Douglas, it's a subdivision. It's not a subdivision on 202.
No, it is.
Technically it is.
If it appeases, we certainly will inquire and receive a letter of no interest.
Any lot line adjustment on a lot abutting, state.
It's a lot line adjustment, it's not a subdivision.
Right. But a lot line adjustment is a subdivision, again, technically.
Okay,
You're carving out property from one lot and conveying it to another, by definition, that's subdivision, which results in a lot line adjustment. You're not creating new lots.
No, I understand why they were interested in this.
There's a subtle distinction.
Go ahead and do it.
Mr. Chairman, but I guess DOT, they don't recognize that subtle distinction.
Safer than base, safer
I
than
think-
sorry.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
And it saves any problems in the future.
yeah,
We have no objections to continue. Absolutely.
Got it.
so you've got it on your list.
So they stipulated the 4 through 9 plus the extra, so. Yes.
Yep,
That one.
Do you have anyone planned for any discussion of tree removal for the implementation of the pool? Is there another witness?
No, there's not, Mr. Chairman.
They're not here for.
They're not here for.
No, I'm, all right, well, fine, you're right, we don't care.
And admittedly, I think our client's property is a little bit more open in the back. The Whittam property is heavily forested in the back, which will provide actually a nice visual buffer even with the pool going in. Eventually.
So we probably would need to remove trees on the new piece.
I don't anticipate any tree removal on our client's property for the installation of the pool.
Any other questions? Okay, John?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. You indicate that the pool will be conforming, that the subdivision will create a pool by right when you go for your permit. What setback did you use? Because the subdivision creates a hybrid where the conveyed piece is actually in another zone. The ordinance mandates that zone lines follow property, the track line. So I'm curious as to one, where is the pool going? So it's not indicated. And two, what setback did you use?
I believe Mr. Garen can speak to this, but we use
I didn't hear.
I'm sorry, Mr. Zabo, we use the more intense setback, meaning the further one, I apologize for which zone
The
is.
R1?
Correct.
Okay. Is the pool in the R1 zone?
It will be,
Okay,
yes.
okay, so, all right,
There will be no development eventually even in the subdivided area or the tract that is being conveyed to my clients. The pool's not gonna go in that
Oh,
area.
R2.
It'll be the R2.
Correct, I apologize, yes. It will not be in that tract, yes. We needed it only for the setback, Mr. Zabo, yeah.
what I would suggest, since this is a hybrid situation, for clarity, that we indicate what the setbacks would be on the property, the rule of thumb, because it's not addressed in the ordinance, what I would suggest is any development within the R2 portion of the property must comply with the R2, and any development within the R1, should they put a shed or some other accessory structure, would be subject to the R1, if that's where they were going to put it, and it might be helpful to have that delineated, you know, in a resolution at least.
This is not a zoning line change, this is just
Correct. The
an
zone line is
aggregation of
not
two
right.
zones.
To
So,
guide the zoning officer when they
Yeah.
ultimately get this application for a pool, should the board be inclined to grant subdivision, there'll be clarity for that individual to be able to determine what the proper setback should be. I think it's the most practical way of handling the hybrid situation.
May I suggest that the plat be delineated with the setback lines?
That was what I suggested in my report. If that can be done, I would recommend that so that the zoning officer will know it's clear. And that would go forward with all future applications.
Future development.
And it's clear, that way 10 years from now, we still have it, and it could be put on the plat. So that it's
Right,
clear.
to make it-
I'll do the word.
Does the applicant understand that and stipulate to that? Through council.
Yes, they do, Your Honor. Yes.
Just to be clear, this plan is not gonna be recorded.
It's gonna be by deed.
Yes.
That's it, that's the deed. Okay. Also, the deed will be recorded.
Correct.
But it could be reflected in the deed, shouldn't it?
No,
No, because the deed would.
could perhaps an exhibit could be attached to the deed. And file that way, they're not gonna file by plat, they might.
They could, it'd be a minor subject.
So,
Yeah, but
because they
where we
require-
stipulate that we submit the revised final plan as an exhibit to the deed.
That's what.
So that way there's no confusion. I believe that's beneficial, one for my client as well as any future interest owner of the property.
That would be my recommendation.
Apologize for the side colloquy. I think
no, it's
everybody
all
followed it.
constructive criticism, that's what we're here for.
I have nothing else.
Just that the map is gonna get filed, it's a lot of different standards.
Right,
It's
unusual.
all kinds of signatures, stamping, and it gets much more involved, and it's unfair on a minor subdivision to impose major subdivision requirements on plat, or you can't do it. Yeah,
This accomplishes the goal without the unfairness.
All
And
right,
we appreciate that.
That's a burden. Let me understand, part of the property could be in R1 and part of the property could be in R2.
Well, that was gonna be the issue I was still gonna raise if John wasn't gonna raise it, although I know he pointed it out, and that is, we still do have a split zone lot. Which is, not, the goal of zoning and planning, it's contrary to, notwithstanding the fact that there were benefits pointed out by the engineer and council, elimination of existing deviations, et cetera. So, what if any, proposal is there to mitigate the detriment associated with creating a split zone lot, if any?
Well, I think, the uncertainty of split zone lots is exactly what the discussion or colloquy we were just having, which is occasionally municipal officials, landowners don't know exactly how to apply the different standards of either zone in which they're properly situated. So I fully believe that the kind of conclusion or condition that we just agreed to would place any future property owner on notice. It would allow the zoning official or any other municipal official to have a very delineated idea of which standard in which they have to enforce in the event of a permit, or even allows the property owner to determine what type of variance they may ever need in the future, if future development is being considered. So that would also allow them to determine, could they do it as of right, or do they need board approval? So I do think kind of the solution that was just agreed upon in condition kind of solves kind of these inconsistencies or concerns that is created by a split zone plot.
A question, I'm guessing Mr. Zabel follow this because he thinks of everything. R1 and R2, just set you up, I like that. Impervious coverage percentages, are they the same in both zones?
It's the calculation is based on land area.
So it's the same percentage.
So, yeah, I wasn't concerned about that. I just want to know how we're going to treat these properties going forward. I did look at the zone line because what the board has done in the past is that they've recommended zone line adjustments to create lots that are entirely within their zone, which is the desirable planning objective. But in this case, we're doing the opposite. The applicant needs to justify that to the board as part of the subdivision and variance for the side yard. And it's up to the board. I think that the hybrid situation is not fatal. We deal with it now proactively if the board's inclined. Some boards I know absolutely will not do this. It depends on the policies and what you consider appropriate for the community.
And I would like to just simply add, while split zone lots are not favorable by any municipality, this is certainly not a situation which is the more dire or concerning, which occasionally arises, which I think anyone here has possibly seen, where it's a split zone lot with two zones that have very different permitted uses in those zones. So meaning you have a commercial or industrial zone, split zone with a multifamily or a single family zone, and kind of the property owner almost has carte blanche to say, well, I can kind of do what I want here. That's not this. These are two residential zones. This area where it is split zoned is in the very rear of both properties, or really more my client's property. Admittedly, their intention, the pool's never going to go back there. I really don't see in any conversations I have with them that there's going to be any development in that area of the property which would ever necessitate permits, variances, or the like. But obviously, if they ever come to that conclusion, they will go through the proper channels, especially with the guidance that they were just given, which will be that they will have to apply the correct standard of whatever zone in which they look to develop it.
The R1 minimum footage, square footage.
Oh, it's on the plan, it's in my report. The R1 requires 218,750. I was gonna point out an observation that the council had pointed out.
I stole your thunder.
I just steal mine. No,
No.
a couple of observations. One, it's accurate. That corner of the property, the subdivision does not create an issue for the larger lot. And it doesn't create an issue really for the neighboring properties or this parcel because of the isolated nature of that corner. Mike, I'm just curious why it's not straight. Why is that, man?
That was a little bit more so because it just generated exactly kind of what my clients needed, Mr. Zabel, in regards to the setbacks for the pool, the impervious coverage. So when they had consulted with the neighboring property, it was kind of, how much do you need? And that's how much we will give you. So they did not want it to part of a whole strip along that whole line back there. It was, listen, we do want to be good neighbors, but we're not going to simply give you, a whole strip of the rear yard of our property.
It's a pretty good neighbor, I don't know if it's made.
One more, if I may, quick question, just to help with respect to the what will still be a 5
Setback
foot
variance.
driveway setback on the side yard as opposed to the 10 feet required. Where, immediately adjacent lot to the west, where is the home situated? Is there something that can be said, vis-a-vis the distance and the orientation of that home, to mitigate perhaps the detriment associated with that 5 foot setback?
So via Google or, I pulled a distance, there's a big red barn in the front yard of the adjacent property. Are the
That's
corner,
exhibit A1, the Google.
yeah, well, yeah, we can refer to that, yeah, so the structure in the front yard is 185 185 feet from our building. And to the, I'm assuming the dwelling is the structure to the rear, that's over 200 feet.
What are the
Mr.
buildings?
Garion, is it fair that in this Google Earth image that we see right over here, there is a pool.
Yeah.
But it's not a structure, it's not a residence, it's a
Correct.
pool. So that would be the closest kind of improvement to this side yard setback variance and kind of that deficiency. And something that I think, in New Jersey, we can all agree is hopefully only, or could be used 4 or 5 months out of the year simply because of the weather. So again, it's not a structure, it's not a residence, it's a pool, and as I said, that's really the closest improvement to that side yard. As Mr. Garion said, there's ample feet to what is an existing barn as well as the residence on that side of the property, which is the west side. So I would like to submit that, while it's non-conforming, it's a very little detriment to the adjoining property owner on the west side.
Nothing further, Mr. Chairman.
Are there buildings in the Google map that are at the front of your neighbor's property that today exist? What are those buildings? I understand your point about the pool.
Yeah,
but
I
the
understand.
buildings that are forward of it, are those really buildings? What are they? Are they farm buildings?
Admittedly, Mr. Chairman, I'm not quite sure, and I don't want to speculate other than contradict myself here and actually speculating that they may be farm accessory buildings only for the very simple fact of they are kind of closer over to the barn. And obviously, I'm not sure if my clients know, but they may have personal knowledge of what these kind of structures are over here, if you guys have ever kind of known what those are to your neighbors to the west. Or if you know if they still exist there today, as Mr. Chairman pointed out.
I don't know if they exist.
I think this map is really old.
It may be, Mr. Chairman, I did use Google Earth today, but occasionally it is outdated.
they're
depending
gone.
on-
Okay.
Yeah,
I think that, I don't think that, I don't think that those are still.
Because right now it's-
You would notice them if they were.
That's why I asked.
There's a. It's a private property, but I don't.
This is
Mr. Queen, that's why I
I've
asked,
never seen.
people who should know more than I do, absolutely. Yeah.
you know,
I'll
okay.
take their testimony as fact. They haven't seen them.
Yeah, because they're not there anymore. Okay. Well, that's fine. Oh, you have another question?
Just,
Bill?
sorry, if I get one more clarification on the condition of delineating the setbacks. John, so the rear portion of the property is gonna have R1 setback?
Yeah, anything built, my suggestion is anything constructed within the R1 portion of the property which comply with the R1 requirements.
That's a 75-foot side
Huge setback.
and a 100-foot rear, so I don't think there'll be any principal structure setback on that piece of property.
But what the purpose of the subdivision is to be able to put the pool on the R2 portion without a variance from the property line, is that correct?
That would be correct.
Because your representation was that it would be in the R2.
Correct.
Okay.
So we should have accessory, if there's an accessory. The 100-foot rear setback is gonna be onto the front portion, the R2. There won't be any building envelope,
Yeah,
R1.
it's kind of like, how would you draw the setbacks on the map that you were just talking about, when reality is just like, there just can't be anything built on that.
Exactly.
because,
I
of the
was just being a
setbacks.
little more.
Other than accessory.
Yeah, an accessory,
Nothing.
But that, the stipulation would cover that situation, and the applicant would have to deal with that at that time. I'm happy that we'll be in the R2, it makes it easy,
yeah,
and we can live with
make
that.
it possible.
I'm glad Bob brought that out, because what that does is for the applicant and future owners, I know that, hey, it's gonna be, you might be able to put a little swing set there next time.
Yeah.
And while
Do you
I
want to
will
give me
say-
your colors? Remember you had to do all the, you know, with that other multi-lot configurations?
Yeah, but one thing I would not recommend
Multi-zone.
is that we extend the R2 controls into that, because
Right.
now you're creating a real sticky situation
Yeah.
where, you know, we don't wanna set that.
Okay,
And again, I think it's a great idea for clarity specifically for the municipal officials. But obviously my clients are here tonight, so they're hearing it, but any future property owner that change type. It would be awfully confusing, I could imagine, if they all of a sudden do want to go put a shed back there. And said, wait, what's setback? And they said, wait, I need a variance. So putting everyone on notice, we have no issue with whatsoever.
essentially they're buying setback is what they're doing.
Yeah.
As-
We are, Mr. Chair.
Summarizing.
Absolutely.
Okay. All right, opening to the public, is there anyone of the public who has a question of the engineer?
Or the applicant.
Well, yeah, I guess, right. Okay, no questions, now, comment, from the public, right? If there's anyone in the public that would like to make a comment about this application, let us know and. No, okay. So it's just comments amongst ourselves, right?
The board to deliberate with the chair's permission, the relief sought is the minor subdivision approval, AKA lot line adjustment, along with a driveway setback variance, existing 1.5, proposed 5 feet, minimum required 10 feet, there's the deviation. I do have the conditions of approval in the event it's the motion to grant the compliance of the comments by way of stipulation in both Mr. Sabo's memo of November 8th and Mr. Brightly's memo of October 25th, as well as the split zone lot compromise, if you will, the utilization of the setbacks. Anything improved in the R1 zone portion of the lot will be subject to the R1 setbacks, and anything in the zone 2 portion of the split zone lot will be subject to the R2 setbacks, and that will be on the revised plat, which will be an exhibit to the minor subdivision deed that will be recorded in the Somerset County Clerk's office after review by the township, the borough, my apologies, and or board attorney and engineer. And I think that's all we have for us.
All right,
We'll make that motion.
Second.
roll call.
That's quick, okay, I'm sorry, who made the motion?
House, you know.
Mayor, can I second?
Mayor second. Okay, Mr. Timoff,
Yes.
Mayor Knopf,
Yes.
Mr. Walden,
Yes.
Mr. McQueen,
Yes.
Vice Chairman Horowitz,
Yes.
Chairman Graham,
Yes,
motion carries.
Thank you all very much for your time today. We really appreciate it.
And thank you for trying to be invested in improving.
Yeah. Trying to do it the right way.
okay, I'll give you a minute. You should run.
The building plan came before council last night. I invited that person. I did not see them. Are you happy not happy? You know, it's Talk right to.
No, I actually,
Yeah. Same thing with the crosswalk. I had right from the crosswalk, yeah.
he tagged.
But I saw the walkway. Your walkway, you've been a year and a half.
No, I'm just saying, we're going to cross that back, the back. The back of the field. I travel, and going, but it is what it is.
That was the DEP approval process.
Yeah.
It literally just goes through.
Yeah, no, and again, it just messes up that whole.
Talk to the record.
Yeah.
Talk to. They have all three jurisdictions. Council will do whatever is within it. They negotiate.
Right. Yeah, I gotta, again, I can say it. We go. Or so.
It doesn't have two stories. At the end of the day, I pulled the strings.
No, that's been, that is really not a big deal. It's I think the kitchen is. Yeah. But nobody's, I mean, but nobody else will. There's no authority for anybody else.
Talk to, look, that's.
Yes. Yeah, I just need to, like, I mean, I literally had to, like. No, I have them now, but like.
With that, because on the right side, there's representation of all. That's agenda.
There is. All
right, yeah, then make sure you talk.
We need almost $10,000 out of what's. So I've been more than happy to use it. But.
Well, the bigger issue that has to.
Hey, now.
The bigger issue is we have really good organization.
Right.
Well, yeah.
So like, these different kind of bins and food and everything.
It may need to be a shared service. Not at all.
You guys have to talk.
Oh, yeah, no, again,
Yeah.
Instead of football.
All right, you ready to resume?
Soccer's there Saturday.
We are now going to hear the second application, which is 114 Claremont LLC, describing the proposed application for 114 Claremont. And so you're ready.
Thank you. Good evening. Again, my name is Michael LaParry. I'm attorney with Mandelbaum Barrett and counsel for the applicant 114 Claremont LLC. We're before you again this evening seeking preliminary and final site plan approval with a couple of associated bulk variances to develop what is now a 3-unit townhouse residential dwelling located at 114 Claremont Road. And that's in the D-CL downtown Claremont Road zone subdistrict of the downtown zone district. First, I want to just thank the board for allowing us to proceed this evening. I know there were some issues with regard to our resubmission. We've done timely, but there were some issues behind the scenes. So we greatly appreciate the courtesies of you allowing us to come forward this evening and present the continuation of our application from October. I'd like to thank the board professionals as well for that courtesy. So we were here in October, and we presented what we thought was a fairly conforming site, given some of the constraints that were present on the property. But at that time, we listened to some of the concerns that were raised by the board professionals and by the public. And as we indicated to you at the last hearing while we were here, we truly wanted to put together a quality product for Bernardsville. And the applicant is, really, invested in, desirous to work with this board and with the community. And, given that, we went back and we made, pretty substantial changes to listen to the concerns that this board raised. And our engineer, art and architect will go through in more detail all of the changes that were made from the last hearing. But, big picture items, we reduced the number of units from 4 to 3. We moved the garages to the rear of the building to address the concerns that they don't face on Claremont Road. We reduced the number of variances from 7 to 2, one of which we substantially reduced the amount of the variance. And the applicant worked tirelessly with Dan Lincoln at the recommendation of this board in order to revise the look and the feel and the character of the architecture of the building in hopes that it really can be something that, fits in perfectly and harmoniously in that section of your community. So, with all the work that was done, we truly hope that this finished product, which I submitted via email, the renderings that we'll introduce as exhibits here tonight. I introduced those as exhibits. I don't know if anybody received them. We'll pass them out. But we hope that what we consider to be the finished product at this point in time, is satisfactory to the board. And, will eventually be a great product for the community. I have my witnesses again with me that were here last time. Mike Isasano, he is a member of the owner or the applicant. Our architect is an engineer, John Gilchrist, and our professional planner is Matt Flynn. Okay, Matt Flynn from John McDonough Associates is also here. That's why I just make sure I got the right guy. So, but in case one of them stumbles, the other one will help him out.
Now, you wanted that one.
Yeah, exactly. We had heard it too. Mr. Zabel, those
Bring a couple
not.
more attorneys with it?
So just to clarify, so what is in the digital packet is not what is in paper copy?
So,
Correct.
Okay, that helps me, because I'm just
No,
trying to
I
figure out.
do not
where this
believe
is
the
working.
board received these
Four
plans prior to,
Just want to make sure everybody on the board understands.
unless they were emailed that I wasn't aware
Yeah, it was dated November 27th.
so you have, I mean, I can see that it looks like the most recent version. I understand that everybody has physical copies at this point in time.
Yeah, this is it.
Yeah, just
Okay.
the package was not
She's got it.
fixed on the website.
Yeah, it's
Correct.
on the
It was
website.
on the website.
We're good.
Okay. And again, I don't know if did anybody receive today these exhibits? I'll pass them
No,
along.
I don't.
No, please.
Okay, I'll allow one of the,
It was on?
And if I may,
Yeah.
Mr. Chairman, I'm I'd recommend, I'm gonna tell you. The plans should be marked, even though they may have been submitted more than 10 days in advance of this evening, because they may not have been received and reviewed by many people, more than 10 days. So to play it safe, I would mark them as exhibits,
easy enough.
as well as the new architectural this evening.
Yeah, you got it. Thank you.
Sure.
So unless there's any questions, I'll call my first witness.
Did you want to pass out the elevation?
Yeah, I could do that. I'll mark this then as, good question. We should have it here, just bear with me.
Was there any one of they?
It's not A1.
That's all on the notes here.
Yes. So we'll mark this as A2.
Mark, you missed out.
A2 and A2, 3 and 4, or
I could do that if that's easier for you. We'll mark it A2, 3, and 4 then. A2, A3. A4. I will put today's date on them, which is November 30th.
And to keep it, the engineering plans that are up on the tripod there, those I'm gonna assume are the new ones. If it's just one page, I'm gonna make that A5, well,
There's 7 pages.
7 pages. We can make it A5, yeah, 7 pages.
So, Mr. Warner, just a technical question.
Sure.
Since this is essentially a new drawing, is Mr. Walden eligible to vote?
No, he's not eligible to vote if we vote this evening. That said, he can participate, number one, and number two, I think it's based upon the request of the applicant to proceed this evening, notwithstanding the fact through no fault of the applicants or anyone else's for that matter, it's an unfortunate, turn of events, for some individuals, in the process. Our board professionals have not had, an opportunity to review the new plans in depth and to provide reports for the benefit of the board, the benefit of the members of the public, the benefit of the applicant. So it's my understanding that applicant is proceeding tonight to move this forward fully with the explicit understanding in the letter he submitted on behalf of his client that the board is not going to complete the hearing this evening, and the board will complete the hearing after the board professionals have a full and fair opportunity to review the plans, the memos, and everyone can have the benefit of that. So we're continuing with the understanding we're not completing. It may well be that between now and then, our new board member can qualify himself by looking back at the video or.
And I want to make sure, since this is first, now I make sure you understand from Mark, if you watch the video of the first
Here,
of the hearing and stipulate to it, that would transition from a non-voting member to a voting member.
Exactly.
And I would just, I think it would probably be in everyone's best interest, ours and yours, that we just have this brief conversation about how we're going to proceed at the end, after we conclude our testimony, if we get there. It's whether or not we're going to go forward or where we're going to go with it. Hopefully I do such an amazing job, the board says, you know what, we're ready to vote, and, but we'll see.
Anything's theoretically
Anything can
possible.
happen.
You have a form without marked up, Chris?
You would, I think.
Yes,
Or
we do.
required or five?
5. Yeah, 5.
1, 2, I can't count till 5.
Yeah. So, fine.
It's so damn inconsistent. Yes,
Thank you.
So I'm not going to get right into this exhibit just yet, but you certainly have the benefit of looking at it while I call my first witness, if that's okay.
I got it.
Yeah.
John, I'm gonna ask Mike to come up real quick.
Mike, did you run out of the contact?
I have the one that I had more.
I got it. Yes, more back here.
Our board's clerk.
Thank you.
Don't you need the hand?
I wrote it on mine, I can hit two one.
Yeah.
That's, oh, okay.
Yeah, I can give that to you for the record.
Well, as long as you were sworn in last time, you remain under oath, yes.
Yeah.
And, we're all witnesses sworn in?
Not my point.
Not, I'm gonna get this, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, and our board professionals remain under oath, so we can keep going, we get to Mr. Flynn or Mr. McDonough, after they shoot it out, I'll swear whichever one is testifying in.
Thank you.
If we get there this evening. Okay, you're not up there.
Okay.
Oh,
Yeah, so,
wait.
this is Michael Sassano. You may recall he testified last time. He's a member of 114 Claremont LLC. Mike, if you could just give a brief overview of some of the efforts that you took, because I know we went through a lot, and I want the board to understand how much work we put in from the last time we were here with our application to this new application, because I know you've been working around the clock trying to, repackage this a little bit and make it a better product for, based upon the concerns you listened. So I'll let you just give a quick overview from that.
Mr. Chairman, Madam Mayor, members, thank you. At the last meeting, I think we knew where we were. So just to give you an order of operations, what we did is we first went back to the drawing table on seeing what fit within the lot lines of what you wanted with the building up front, garages in the back. We played around with 4, then we played around with 3, 4 back, 3, and we did that first to get the footprint. And then once we wanted to commit to 3, figuring that it's actually a better product, even though it's less units, that doesn't mean it's a bad thing. Then from there, we had extensive conversations with the HPAC Design Committee at the request of the board and also the request of we thought that's what we wanted to do. Dan Lincoln was at the forefront of that, and he was in extreme help as seeing what you see here today.
I can see Dan's touch on there.
Yeah, I mean, I just spent 2 hours with him before this meeting. He drove me around all town. I mean, it's stone all the way, so we added that in. it was very informative. It's just made me like this town even more. I'm probably gonna go home and get yelled at by my wife, but,
So you're gonna move in too?
I might. I mean, I don't know if I can afford the pools out here, but. But, well, I think what we gave, what we have today is a product that is 3 stories, but because of some design features on this, it doesn't look as tall as it really is. The stone, another characteristic that we wanted to get to is 3 separate looking units, and that's why the middle has the stone all the way up. On the corners, it's only a quarter way up. Dan, the HVAC, ourselves, we all realize that, a rendering can't do it justice. There's gonna be fine tweaks with the colors and the material, but more or less, this is what the bulk of it is. But we are willing to continue working with HVAC and basically get a letter of sign off or whatever it may be. Because, as I was discussing today, the stone's a little bit more on the brown look. Realistically, it's probably more grayish. So things like that where, people in the design can realize that we could turn this into something better and just get a sign off letter. But the overall plan with the driveway, the garages in the back, unfortunately, and I'll let John testify to this, but we couldn't avoid a variance because we couldn't build 70% of the lot width because of the driveway. It is what it is, you know what I mean? But we feel like we have a better product in front of you tonight, and we have plenty of turning diagrams, from Mr. Timoff. I think that we kind of hit it on the nail. I mean, I really do. Obviously everything can be tweaked, but we're open to it. And just to,
Yeah. And Mr. Lincoln, he intimated to you that he would work with you and
Yes.
he was happy with your product.
Yes.
Okay. I think that's all, or all the testimony I have for Mr. Sassano, and obviously he'll answer any questions now or later on. We have them.
So are you officially stipulating to sign off from, HVAC on final?
Yeah, we can add that to the condition, no problem.
I think Mr. Lincoln would be pretty, hurt if we did not at this point, after all this work.
He really went above and beyond. It was we're very appreciative. Really appreciative.
Our community.
I was actually walking his dog with him today. We were walking around the neighborhood inside the high school and stuff, so it was very nice.
Another witness that will address the setback, right? I know he.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, and, are there any questions that
Sorry,
professionals have?
You mentioned something about a setback.
I said he'll have another witness that's gonna talk to the setback, not just the applicant. Okay, any questions? Okay, any questions for this witness from the public? None, okay, thank you, and you can call your next witness.
Thank you. My next witness is John Gilchrist. He is the project architect and or project engineer. He testified and was sworn at the last hearing, was qualified and accepted.
Licenses both remain in good standing? Yes, yes.
I have to say.
I mean, you don't have to say yes, you can, you have to speak out.
Yes. Thank you. John, as we discussed here already, there were a lot of changes from the last time you testified to this time. If you could please just walk us through the site plan from, I guess, the overall site conditions, from, I guess, starting with the engineering and the overall site layout. Mention some of the variances that were reduced and whatnot, and then after that, we can get into some of the architectural changes.
Okay, thanks. Basically, a new project, as opposed to 4 units along the south side, we have 3 units facing on Claremont. We took into account the fact that Claremont would be widened 8 feet. And what that does is, because the property is triangular, it shoves things back into the funnel. Everything gets tight as the more we move back. We have, as a suggestion of the board, an 18-foot driveway which gives us a little more width. We want to be 90 degrees to Claremont with the driveway as we come out, which is why we were not able to achieve the full 75% width of the building compared to the frontage. Our frontage is 65%, 70% is required. But still, I think the intent of the ordinance is to get that building on Claremont and use up as much of the street frontage as we can. 3 units, each with a 2-car garage. Each 2-car garage has an 18-foot deep driveway behind it, and each 18-foot driveway has 24 feet of driveway behind that. In spite of that, it's gonna be tough to get into this first garage, and we know that. These are. Maybe the second sheet is larger. The second sheet is a little easier to see, I agree.
Okay. Well, since we haven't marked the exhibit, while we're talking, just identify the page.
That's 107, dated 11/16/23.
Maybe exhibit 85.
Correct.
And then, in its entirety, all 7 sheets, if you could go back to the number.
Okay, so I'm gonna refer to F2, which is my site plan. Same thing. Unit A. To make that turn into the garage is difficult. We admit that. Unit B, Unit C, not a problem. There's plenty of room to get a car in. There's a little trick to back out from Unit C. You put a little more driveway back there to help that guy get out in one turn. To get into Unit A, it's gonna require 2 units.
So, just for the record, unit A is the southernmost unit.
Yes.
Unit B is the northernmost unit.
A, B, and C. Okay.
And those square footages in this.
Are the floor areas, yeah, the coverage of each unit, the footprint of each unit, thank you, yes. I'd like to go right to my floor plans, which are on F6.
John, just briefly, real quick, before we get there, I wanna make sure we're clear on the variances. So you indicated that the ordinance requires 70% of the build out of the front, and we're at 65?
Yes.
Okay, and you indicated that is due to the shape
of triangular nature of the property, yes.
Right.
And the fact that we have a 2-way driveway.
Got it. And the other variance that we are requesting is the number of stories?
Yes, 2.5 permitted, 3 requested.
Okay, and that is partially because we are sticking to the cars on the first floor.
Yes, so I want to go as well.
So can you say that again? The second variance is what?
Second variance is we are seeking
3 stories.
3 stories where 2.5 stories are permitted.
That's permitted. I'm sorry. That's permitted to be the jurisdiction of this board.
Yeah, because we meet the height requirements. So even though we're at 3 stories instead of 2.5, we're not asking for a height variance.
Okay.
So
It's not a D.
it's not a height variance.
It's not a D6 variance. A D6 variance under the jurisdiction of the zoning board would only come into play if this were in feet, height, either 10 feet or 10% greater than that permitted. Here, I guess it's compliant with the.
It's compliant with all.
It's, and
square
3
foot.
versus 2.5 stories would not qualify as a D6 variance, but therefore it's a bulk variance within the jurisdiction of the select board, ancillary to the site plan. Short answer is good.
Thank you.
All right, again, on my drawing, S6, at the first floor, in each unit will have a front door, well, Claremont. A small porch, covered porch, and the sidewalk back to the street. The balance of the first floor is a big chunk of each one in the 2-car garage. From the back, we have a back door to a stairway. Up, there's also a full bathroom and an 8-unit den. In unit A, because of the way it's situated, we have 2 small rooms, both essentially beds. The second floor is the living level. There's a kitchen, family room, study, a half bathroom. Point out that we have left space for an elevator in each one of these, so it's not necessarily gonna be part of the package, but it's available. And then on the third floor, each unit has 3 bedrooms. Primary bedroom in the front with full bathroom, walk-in closet. Bedrooms 2 and 3 in the back, each with a 3-fixture bathroom. So we have full living floor, kitchen, family room. On the second, 3 bedrooms, each with full bath on the third level. The building, we've gone with a mansard style roof, which allows us to have the full 3 stories with the appearance of a 2-story building. The height of the building is based on the average elevation along the front setback. And I did in fact calculate that. It's a little hard to read on my page S1. All those every 20 feet, I have an elevation taken off the survey. And that's illustrated on my east elevation. There's a red line that shows the average grade of the street, and my building height. Kitchen top parapet, we're allowed 35 feet, we're proposing 33 feet, so it's actually lower than the required maximum. My elevations are, from 2 weeks ago, we continued to work on these, with the help of Mr. Nixon. Generally, there is Mr. Nixon. Yeah, that's okay. Ross President. Ain't hard, but we're not. This is just on my mind. He's proposing that we have a box space to come out the front, pop out the front. He's suggesting that the box space not be a 3-story box space, but it be a 2-story box space with a doors and balconies off the front bedroom. So we think that's a good idea, and we would go with that. And that's part of the rendering that we passed out tonight.
Excuse me, where's the kitchen on the second floor?
Is it like a great room kind of thing?
Yeah, it's an open concept, as open concept as you can have.
Yeah.
It's wide.
In the aisle.
Kitchen in the corner, up the stair, half a bath, elevator.
Like a window over the same.
Window over the sink, sir. And I would point out on my second floor, balconies off the back of the building, which also serve as a little bit of cover over the entrance to the garage in the back doors. And that's illustrated in the west elevation and a little bit in the south elevation. And so then we poked that out a little bit. Building materials will be, as Mr. Sestano described, stucco and stone. And we will continue to work with Mr. Lincoln to find the design. But generally, the floor plans are shown.
So if we could just briefly, I just want to make sure that we're clear as, and I'll run through them and you could just agree or correct me if I'm correct. The variances that we have eliminated from the last plan to the current plan are as follows. We've had a minimum rear yard setback to a residential zone. The proposed building, at the prior proposed building required a setback of 20 feet. Where we had 6 feet, we now comply.
Yes.
The minimum front yard build out, we were previously proposing 24, now we're proposing 65 or 70 is required. We're still requesting a maximum number of stories, but 2.5 is permitted and 3 are proposed.
Yeah.
we're no longer seeking a variance for maximum feet to the bottom of the eaves where, 30 is permitted, we're exceeding that.
Right, we don't have eaves anymore.
Okay, and we are no longer seeking the variance for the ground level minimum height of 10 feet.
No, I didn't mention that. All of the floors are 10 feet floors there. So we were able to get 10 feet floor to floor on all the floors, to still stay within the height.
They're 9 feet internal?
Yes, in each floor.
Okay, and we are no longer seeking a variance for the minimum of 20% transparency,
No, we have plenty of windows along plan.
and we're no longer seeking variance for parking in the front of the principal building on the primary street.
Parking is all behind the building. We have, as I mentioned, 2-car garages, and each 2-car garage comes with a 3-car driveway. So each unit has effectively 4 spaces.
Okay,
So the driveway is backing up to that grass lot.
Yes, well,
the driveway, yes.
Yeah,
2-car garage, 18-foot by 18-foot driveway, 24 feet plus of pavement behind it.
Right, but we're, I think, Madam Mayor, referring to this area where there's this concrete parking lot over here as a drive out, adjacent to.
Yeah, that's our 2-way in and out.
I don't have any additional direct testimony from Mr. Bill Christ. There's some questions.
We talked about, everybody's coverage at all with the minor maintenance.
No, same way as we addressed it last time, I'll let him discuss the changes.
I didn't know if anything changed with any time.
Well, he could testify to the changes.
There's not a requirement for impervious coverage in this PCO zone. The property got smaller because of the widening in Fairmont. The coverage is about the same percentage.
So there's nothing on impervious? The downtown, Claremont is silent on impervious?
Number now.
Okay.
There's a lot of coverage requirement.
Yes, there is.
Oh, I'm sorry, there is. 80%, we're at 79.97, so the lot got a little smaller. And it's about the same amount of square footage.
It's up, according to the plan, up from 56%. Well, there is.
We're talking about, yeah, that's existing conditions. From the prior iteration of the plan, there's not much of a change. From the existing condition, there's a change, but we're still complying and not seeking a variance for that.
Permitted 80%, existing 56, which is a house on the property and a large parking lot. And we will be just under 80%. 4 square feet.
Well, I want to hear more about the 5-foot setback variance. I don't see why. I understand the turning radius and things like that, but I'm not inclined to say that you should grant that variance
For the width of the
for the
building.
5-foot variance on the north side.
As I said, we want to be 90 degrees to Claremont as we come out, and then a gentle turn coming in.
I don't know that.
The only constraint I can see is that you're compelled to put it there because of a turning radius situation with, as you said, difficulty getting into Unit A's garage. Well, okay, pull forward and back in. It's kind of like this structure can shift south and still comply with the 90 with the 5-foot variance. I mean, it's pretty clearly marked.
Well, I think we need a little clarification on whether or not, I don't believe we need it, we're asking for, I don't think that triggers the variance to have a drive aisle within 5 feet.
No, this is the house. No, your unit on the northwest corner. Okay, That's inside the 5 foot variance, correct?
We're allowed to have bay windows in the setbacks.
It's not windows, it's structure.
It's what's
Yeah.
bay, it's bay.
It looks like structure to me.
It's not windows, it's structure.
It's, well, we have the same box spaces up the front, they are specifically permitted and, discussing it with Mr. Lincoln.
So you're not seeking a variance
No.
for 5 feet?
We should make sure that just because they're not seeking it, doesn't mean they don't need it.
Exactly.
No, well, we understand the difference.
We want to make sure we're clear.
And I think we had this discussion last year with regard, although it was a different encroachment because we had a different orientation of the building with our decks encroaching into the rear yard, and those weren't counted or considered as well.
You had balconies.
Correct.
Yeah,
Not talking about balconies,
correct, we're
we're
not.
talking about, you're looking at the building, what I'm talking about now is the back right corner.
Correct.
What is the setback you have to? Not shown on the plan, table on sheet one, shows a 5 foot conforming setback.
Yeah. John, you have it on your,
It's very clear on S2 that you are encroaching the building into the 5 foot setback line.
Yeah.
It's crystal clear.
I agree, and across the front as well. I have three bond spaces, and they get to the required front yard.
can we reconcile this by showing an elevation of the architecture to show that it's a bay window?
It's not a bay window. Yes, you could try, but it's not a bay
Well,
window.
I'd like to clarify, I don't wanna represent something to the board that's not accurate, that's why I'm asking if John, can you reconcile?
The ordinance says that a bay window can be supported on a foundation. This is what we have, bay window supported on a foundation. And honestly, this is not a make or break, we have to live without that, and without that.
Oh,
Yeah, first of all, it's not a bay window for 3 floors. It's just not. Okay, you can see from this drawing that that's not the case. The point is though, as you just said, how do we make it comply? And I think you can. I don't see any reason we can't slide this building south. There may have to be a minor adjustment.
We can calculate.
And I'd like you to have the space. I just want you to be within the 5, outside of the 5 foot setback. I don't want to, you did a great job on it. Right, so I think it's easy to do.
It's not easy to do, unfortunately, because of what's going on in the back.
Forget what's going on in the back. No, seriously, what's going on in the back? So, okay, well, I'd rather have a little bit of messiness in the back than have you encroaching on the 5 foot setback.
You might want to, you've got a larger unit on the left side.
Yes.
There were those steps. You might have to adjust those steps, you might be able to move the building 5 feet.
Right.
The reason for all of this is the location of Unit A's garage. You get me an 18-foot driveway behind it and a 24-foot aisle behind it, 18 feet wide. That's the whole reason of where that garage is and what's left. To the right, so, and it's a difficult unit anyway, so yeah, I mean, we could certainly shove the whole thing to the side.
Yeah, I just would like to not have that encroachment. And you can be creative, obviously. I mean,
from looking at the plan that you have for the unit, that's the southernmost unit, which the corner of that bathroom is what butts the
driveway.
The driveway.
Yeah.
Or on that would be the southern.
The stair step.
Southernmost side,
Yeah.
where the driveway comes in,
Right.
the first floor bathroom. Yeah, there. So if you look at the first floor bathroom, for that one.
Yep.
If you reduce the width of that bathroom, you should be able to slide it over almost enough
Well,
to be outside of that.
it's really the outer wall of unit B, which is what he's saying, is that if you slide unit B to the south.
If I were to square it off, I would only have to slide it a foot.
Yeah. That's fine, that's the creative thing. I'm agreeing with what you're. The mess that's in the, potentially the challenge in the back, let's call it that. My request was slide it to the south. That would imply sliding unit B to the south. That would imply even more intense mess for unit A's.
Right. Because it's gone.
So
You
I
have to have a small
understand,
car.
and that's potentially why it has to be there today, like you said, to get the aisles and all that stuff. I'm just saying, go with your creativity to figure out how to don't encroach. That's all. It's in the back. That's all I care about.
Okay, we understand that. I appreciate it. And again, when I was asking for the clarification, I was not trying to imply that it's anything that other than what it was. I just wanted to get some discussion so we could.
Just get creative. That's the whole idea. Come up with good ideas and make it a better plan and try to comply. I just would rather not have to see the variant. If it's a variance, which I think it is.
It would be a variance.
Yeah, okay. So let's try to make it
Bay
clean.
window, you measure foundation, that's the setback. Bay windows project over that, that's how it works.
This is not
The
a,
plan doesn't, then it's not what it is, and the
Yeah.
plan reflects space, it doesn't show bay window. Exactly.
bedroom there.
They're gonna address it.
Yeah, that's all.
So, just to clarify, right? And I'm looking at the plan here. And again, if we're trying to apply creativity, if they remove that square box on the first floor, does that now make it a bay window? Because when I'm looking at their floor plan, the first floor space is coming up from it's a turn up a stair with a stairwell, right? So you can maintain the nice space you have above, I believe, and call it a bay window and leave to get space.
It's not really useful. They see there's not.
Yeah, you want to make it useful and so forth, but it's not, it's just not, it's not a corner bay window that's going all around the end. It's a bay window on the side. But it's 3 stories and the rear.
So,
Yeah, I think the intent of the ordinance is to provide open space.
so we are in agreement that we're going to not ask for that variance and we will make sure that it's not needed.
You'll figure it out.
Right. Yes.
Sorry.
Yeah, good point.
Looks like you're ready to say something, Bob. I don't know. Or you just lifted your head?
I'm being patient.
Oh, okay. Any other questions from
Knock off all my.
this witness from the board?
No, I would just like to say I really appreciate the work you put into meeting that criteria that we did last time. But that was-
I second
yeah,
that.
Really,
Yeah.
I'm very impressed.
I'd like to say you.
Oh, yeah. No, I'm just my question.
Say I don't want to have another question.
Oh, you want to,
I might have more questions.
when they come up with A, B, C, D, and F. All right, so, any questions for this witness from our professionals?
Yeah, just clarification, I think you mentioned in Claremont Road, neighborhood widening.
Yes,
I'm not talking about widening Claremont, is that what the county's requiring in terms of a right of way?
yes.
So,
Future one,
Future.
No, it's a right.
No, that was one of the,
right, so
raised at the last meeting.
I think you should, your zoning table on sheet 1 and show the 5-foot front setback. You have the 8-foot right of way.
We have
If
both.
there's actual right of way dedication, what would be the primary setback?
From the original property line?
The 8-foot right of way dedication.
5 feet.
Could you walk us through this with the various lines?
I don't see that on the plan unless you have more bay windows in the front.
There, we have more people in the front.
Okay, so it's the same question that you have space in those den areas. Look like space on your.
There is space, it's a bay window that can project up to 5 feet into a setback. And can have a foundation. This is in the ordinance.
But you're showing floor area.
It's, I don't understand the
The bay
difference.
window is above the floor, so. So,
It's not a bump out with a window in it. A bay window is a supported window.
Allowed to have a foundation.
Let's find the definition so we can all be on the same page.
I mean, if you look at A2 through 4, which you just handed out, you're showing stone. You don't show a bay window, you're showing stone all the way down to the ground. So I don't know what the setback is to the right of way.
From the bay window projection up to the proposed right of way, to the proposed right of way.
It's not a bay window, you have stone down to the ground, that's foundation.
It's a 3-foot projection of the bay window, it would be 2 feet of setback.
So I guess we need a definition of
Well,
bay
the
window.
definition of a bay window according to the ordinance, and I'll read it. The space with windows that projects outward from a building facade and forms a recess within.
Outward from a building facade with a what? What was the end of that?
I'll read it again, a space with windows that projects outward from a building facade and forms a recess within.
Meaning there's no foundation.
It's not,
Reading it the way it is.
I know what that meant to say, but I'm not sure.
Well, I think
It
the window,
excluded
has- but the window, not, the window has.
I know what a real bay window is. This is not a real bay window. However, I'm not sure that the definition.
Yeah, I think it does, Bob, because it projects from the structure. But
Right.
then this does not project from the
It
structure.
projects from from the floor.
It's flat.
Maybe that's the catch on it.
Yeah.
I would
If a
agree.
real bay window, you would lose all that stone below the window, then, or it'd be set back underneath the window.
Right,
A bay window, basically, there's a wall, there's an outcropping essentially, and that supports the window, and if you are. And there's like a seat box or whatever, there's something, there's a shelf inside the window, and then there's a top of the bay window which goes back into the wall.
Can we just get a professional's assessment whether or not this is requiring a variance as is at some
Oh,
point?
yeah, what is it?
I mean, there's no point in us debating it.
I believe it's a variance and we'd be able to address it.
Can I ask a question?
That would be my.
On your diagram, which of the various lines is defining the width of Claremont Road? Now you got, I take it that you're starting from the bottom part of the picture of the diagram. I take it that's the, what's the way you define it, that's the south side of Claremont?
East of Claremont's at the
Okay.
bottom.
The next double line is the center stripe.
That's
the
yellow,
historical property line, it could be the center line.
Okay, the next double line. What it is now,
Double yellow line,
and that's where the street,
next one is the curb,
okay,
then we have a sidewalk, 5 foot wide sidewalk.
okay. And
And
we're,
then would be, the S 29, 28, 16, East 57, 15 is the existing property line today.
and where's the easement?
8-foot widening. I'm looking at my drawing as two. Yeah, I'm looking at two as well. So in the, lower left corner of unit A, 8-foot widening.
The property line is the red line below the double yellow line, correct? That's the center of the road, that's where your property line is, right? And then
This is what the surveyor has given us.
the surveyor.
It may be the center line, it may not.
Well, I'm just, sorry, it's whatever, it is the meat, is it the meat of your property?
Well, no,
That distance in that direction?
the second, going, up the street, there's a line labeled F 29, 28, 16, East 57, 15.
Yeah.
That's the present property line, yes.
Because
the deed is originally to the center of the road.
Right,
On the left side, it's at an angle, the property line is 35 feet back. And on the right side, the property is 28 feet back, the existing property.
And the 5046 is the.
That's what's in the meets or?
Of the, not the right of way, even though it's not used.
5046 would be an easement.
That. This did the county.
That's
To the county, yes.
yeah.
You heard, do you have anything back in writing from the county?
No,
Heard of easement, it's not a wide thing, it's either
Right.
right away dedication or an easement.
okay.
There may be different interpretation on setback of easement.
Yeah, our ordinance does not, probably should be amended to address those conditions, but right now it's.
Well, so that, for, if I could ask the question, so in the ordinance, we wanted opposite for streetscape, right? This, we've now learned of the additional 8 sort of easement that the county is requesting for this road.
Right away.
Right away. The intent was to have it close to the road. Are we expecting the reason they're asking for that right away is they're gonna widen the road?
In the master plan.
Yeah.
That's part of it, yeah, at some point.
So from the center line of 525. They have, the county has an easement. That's how wide, 60 is the total road,
No,
which
it's 50.
50,
Presently 50, and I'd like it to be 66.
it's 50, 25 on each side of the.
Well, you gotta go perpendicular to
Yeah, but
Deed line.
it's a total of 50, right, today, and it's going to 66.
Right.
Right, so it's 33 feet technically from the center line,
Yes.
because they have to conform also.
Yeah.
You know, when they widen it, it's like, well, I'm not gonna put 40 feet on one, you know, they have to somewhat follow, so the 8-foot widening, which you've indicated on the plan here, over on the, right next to unit A. That's where hypothetically the county could think whatever.
That's the dedication.
To the county.
Make it a 33-foot right of way.
And so if they took it, would there,
If they took it, there would only be like a 2-foot
2
setback.
foot away? Now, if they took it, would they also have sidewalks in that?
Unless they would take the sidewalk, they would take
Everything.
everything.
No, but they usually, but you don't put the road right up to the edge.
There's usually, there's a.
There's a buffer.
Includes a buffer to the curb line, where you could put
The sidewalk.
sidewalk or other improvements that may be.
I mean, there's form and substance here for the borough and for the applicant, right? We don't want the applicant's building to be in the road. That would be good.
Yeah.
For that building.
We had this discussion last hearing, and that's why we understood that there was 66 instead of 50, and we
Right.
adjusted accordingly. And that's why, one other reason why we had to lose a unit, because we wanted to make sure we comply with the concerns you guys raised
Correct.
last time.
All right, no, I just want to be sure we got it here.
This is
It's important to
important.
hear.
So where is the 5 feet? The 5 feet is that dotted line?
My 5 feet?
Yes, red dotted 5-foot front setback. So on unit A,
Unit A is the one to the left.
to the left, everything but the bump out, the right bump out conforms. Yeah. And the bump out in unit B does not conform. Right. And the bump out in unit C does not. I'd like to comment on bay windows. Permitted building attachment standards. Bay windows shall have a maximum projection of 5 feet from the facade.
Right.
Then it talks about, later in the ordinance, and this is general, architectural. Where I am. Where they talk about transparency, and they talk, okay, architectural standards. LD 12-12.20. Building facades, buildings, cupolas, openings. Attachments, F. And in F, balconies shall not be fully enclosed. Bay windows shall have visible support, either by extending the bay to grade with the foundation or transferring projection back to the wall of beam, brackets, or corbelling. So I can have a bay window 5 feet deep with the foundation.
If it's a bay window.
If
That's
it's a
not
bay
a bay
window,
window.
what else? It is a bay window.
Because it doesn't project, because it projects.
It's not a colonial bay window, it's a more traditional bay window from masonry buildings.
Exactly, this is not what we had in mind when we drafted that.
This is what the ordinance says.
So I don't agree with you. Because the window does not project from the structure.
It projects from the structure.
What we could do, well,
What is this stuff made out of? This stuff is made out of concrete and stone. It's not made out of glass. And the window does not project from the concrete structure.
so we can find a way to comply with your interpretation of the bay window to avoid the situation. We can revise the plans so that we can remove the foundation and make it more of a traditional bay window.
And just to be clear, it's the engineer, planner, and the board attorney's interpretation of the ordinance, not the term bay window, just for the record.
Yes, but I don't know if you consider the additional second, Mr. Gunprice, but Brad, but regardless of that, we're still willing to.
So,
We're willing to make an adjustment.
I'd like to add, and look, again, I'm gonna go back to my formal self statement from Jeff. I'm not sure I'd wanna lose it over 15 linear feet of variance. That's what we're talking. Talking about 15 linear feet of variance here. I'm not sure I'd want them to remove.
Yeah, is there a way we can say this is not a bay window and address it and just say it's
Yes.
okay?
You can also grant variance.
Or granting a variance,
I mean,
right?
we certainly put a lot of effort into the design of this building, and there's a lot of input from the township official. We would love to keep it as much as possible the same way, understanding that we maybe the compromise, Chairman, if we lost the bay, what we consider the bay window, but may or may not be a bay window in the side yard setback, because that has maybe a more of an impact to a neighbor versus the front yard,
Right.
where it has an impact to nobody other than the passing traffic. Maybe we can compromise and keep that. We do believe that we have a really great product.
Well, I think that's what Chad's saying.
Yes.
He's saying,
And I like,
whatever it is, the design's nice. But I think what we want to do is, instead of having the side yard 5-foot variance, you want the variance for these structures.
I think we would, based upon the feedback, we would love to keep that. We would love to grant the variance. If that's going to be failed to the application,
Well, of course,
we'll chop it off, obviously, because we don't want to lose the application for something we consider minor.
I'll give you
And maybe
my
you-
perspective. We need to make sure that that structure preserved, look, we may all be dead before the county road ever gets implemented.
Right.
That's also consideration I'm offering here. But also, if it ever did, there needs to be the room for the sidewalk
Well, that's in the 66.
in the 6 feet.
Yeah.
So, I'm just speaking for myself, I'd be okay with it.
Yeah, we define it as a variance, but we're okay with the variance. For yourself.
That's my personal thing.
Except for the side ones.
Not the side,
Yeah,
that
the
one's a
side one.
different one.
We understand it's a different request and a different impact.
In the left unit, I'm looking at the,
Unit
yeah. I'm looking at the, 6.
looking at what?
Feet 6.
Yes,
What is that space? You have, on the second floor, you have a family room. And then to the left of the family room, what is that? Elevator. Huh? Elevator. No,
No, up to on the front side. That's the roof.
This is a little roof over, the
oh,
front.
so is that a door?
There's a door below, yeah.
right here,
Oh, roof.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, this is your door. You have a door here, facing is.
Window.
Where are the meters and the lifts?
In the middle there where it's like.
We're showing meters at the south,
Yeah,
at the south end.
which picture?
So, I'm looking for this. Yes, electric meter. Yeah. It's grouped together. I'm sorry. This one, gas and electric meters would be grouped on that south wall.
Okay. And you don't need anything like a hot box or anything like that for the property?
No, they're essentially, single family homes.
By the way, are these gonna be condos or rentals?
I don't know that I have the answer to that. I don't know if we haven't made a decision on that either.
Where's the laundry room?
Basically. But it's not, it's on the third floor. That looks like a. There's only a room, right? Washer and dryer. We have, washer dryer, stack washer dryers in each unit.
On the third floor?
Yeah, third floor, that's smart. My wife would like it.
Yeah.
Oh, I see.
Yeah,
Okay.
except when the tank breaks, and then you gotta get to the living room. Now, I wouldn't know about that now, would I?
No, you have to say that agree all.
Okay.
But I think, like, I'm looking at the second floor plans. And next to the quote unquote bay window, there's space. Into the line.
It looks like foundation, but I think this is just like.
It's a double line.
Yeah.
Double line right
That's a balcony, not a balcony, it's just a covering over the front door below.
Because the line below it. There's a double line.
It's a double line because I have a fat piece of trim that runs around with balcony, although it's not balcony. The roof's over the front door.
Right, and I know we can tweaking all of the, with the new rendering as well.
Oh, it's cantilever, you mean, like the.
There's a column in each for each one. So it's basically a covered porch, extending into the front yard. Right. It's a front yard, same day.
Because. Well, what's that double line on the second floor?
The double line is just the edge of the roof that overhangs the front door.
Because you don't show it on the first floor.
Now, on the first floor, there's a column, so it's a line that would be the edge of the porch.
The first floor will show the support for what's underneath the overhang.
Yeah, it's a front door to Claremont. Covered area.
It's just confusing.
Okay, I can fix that. It's a guarantee.
Well, is it a canopy? What is it?
It's a canopy, yeah.
It's a canopy. So it doesn't show the canopy on the floor plan. Right?
On the first floor.
It's covering over the front door.
It's not a.
And that little thing is like a square, that's, at least on this one, you get a pillar that will support the.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes,
Thanks.
that's what it is.
Questions from our professionals?
Yeah, you keep going. I think you know that we have an 18-foot wide driveway now, the ordinance requires 25. I'm asking, variance or somewhere, because it's under the.
It's on the ordinance, it's a design.
Yeah, that's my understanding.
Well, downtown, very clear on what's a variance or what are design standards, so if it's under architectural standards,
It's not, it's,
go to the parking manager.
while you're looking that up, you're proposing a 5-foot wide sidewalk?
Yes.
On one front, okay,
Yes.
it's not labeled on the plan, it doesn't say, I couldn't find it. It shows it, I'm sure that you're proposing replacing all that sidewalk?
The entire sidewalk, yeah. And that, subject to, county approval where they want it.
Right, there's several lines, but there's no label indicating,
The width.
I agree with you.
Some things we learned from prior.
My sidewalk detail does show a 5-foot wide sidewalk. That's 3.
That's great.
Yes.
But where's how will garbage be handled?
Again, these are essentially single-family homes, so they would be similar to other homes in the town.
So they'll have to take the garbage out front.
They would have to take the garbage out front. That's what's going on now.
And, do we have a landscaping plan?
We do have a landscaping plan.
That's four.
Basically, Brook and Maple street trees along Claremont. I have Mountain Laurel, the areas and rhododendrons along the building, with some dogwoods behind the buildings, and then along the west side, I have blue spruce, green. But mostly trees, trees will become big trees and big trees. But also the ornamentals.
No, the recycling is picked up by the county out in front.
Yeah.
But the trash can be picked up in the back.
It could be, so.
If it was a private hall, I think it would be.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you're gonna be loading that through the front door.
Well, you're
At
taking
the garage.
you're taking the recycling through the front door and the trash out the back door. What? I think you have to think about how you can handle the trash.
So that's a variant. Right.
Yeah. Well,
The driveway.
That would make it fair.
We talked about that, should be indicated on the plans as a variance.
The 18 feet, is that what you're talking
Yeah,
about?
24 feet wide, as agreed to last time.
18 is-
18 feet.
Right,
It's still a variance.
so it still needs to be recorded, okay. Is the county going to make about trees?
I was thinking the same thing, but there's.
No, I just mean standard, you got his plan.
The county was said about the street, not the driveway, right?
No, remember for one application, they said that you can't have the trees over site distance.
Yeah, but that was because it was blocking the views. I meant.
Well, there was site also,
Right.
but it was more than that. Then they said you can't have the trees near the sidewalk. It was weird.
They have the trees between the sidewalk and the curb.
Yeah, yeah, right?
I'd like to see him try, I mean, as many state trees as we can get in this borough.
No,
No, I don't, I like this, I'm just worried about.
we were just caught. The applicant was just caught by the county's opinion. Is that and also the one across the street, so no, it was 55 Claremont and it was ethics.
Right.
And yes, there was another concern about site distances. This was distinct. This one,
I would be willing, and I look at this as beyond this application, if the county had objection to these kinds of trees, having to get a council review and bring it to.
Yeah, the commissioner.
I just wanted to be smooth.
They're not between the sidewalk and the curb,
Right,
so.
right. So asked and answered. That's okay.
Looking at your landscaping plan, there's a dimension of 10.2 feet. What is that? What is that measure?
Oh, this is the board.
That's four. And in front of the A unit.
10.2.
What is that?
That's the existing house.
Run that carry from.
It's a remnant that carries through,
Take that off.
yeah.
And over next to the driveway, you have an arrow with some dimensions. CF, is that a CF?
Yeah. I don't know if you look at my finger here, I'm looking right here. There's an arrow that I made.
That could be the 8 feet?
That's the 8 feet, yes.
Oh, right. Yeah, it's on the previous.
Hey, Bob, I took a quick look at the drainage counts. They do the 225 and 100.
225.
So they have to do the 10?
I would be 10. I would do the 2, 10, and 100. Yes.
Right.
We did not have a chance to go look at the new.
The other board question for Bob, do we need to come, I know we have to potentially come back. Do you need to get more questions right now?
Yeah, I have a couple pages.
A couple of pages?
That's okay.
Well, bring out
Put them in
the,
the report, but. You know,
what are the important, or the significant ones?
Well, 12-12.21 landscaping and screening, again, I don't know if this is variance or design standard, but required that part to be screened with a hedge or a wall or a fence, something 3 feet. I didn't see anything along this property, along the parking lot.
Yeah, we had that listed last time as a, I think, a variance. But in the prior,
I think we're less than a foot from the property line.
2 feet, yes.
Well, at the one corner, that odd shaped corner, we're about a foot from the property line, and then 2 feet along the back. But I didn't see any on the plan.
There,
Fence.
we have, some pine trees along the back of the property, but no, against the parking lot side.
Yeah,
Because the south side, I don't have the room.
As mentioned, the pine trees, you should come take a look at that. I think we have Colorado spruce actually in the pavement area. They can get rather large and wide, so
Yeah, I can.
I'll let John handle that.
So this structure here wasn't a barrier.
I assume that way.
It's a short retaining wall, but, you know, we would be happy to put a small fence there.
We always require some kind of screening. We do have
What's the height of the wall? Does it require a fence on the code?
No.
12-12.21 landscaping screening, parking screening area, 3 foot high edge. The edge is 2 foot at any height, or a fence or a wall. I just didn't see anything, but I don't know how they.
We certainly do a fence, to do a hedge would be good.
And that's screening in the rear yard. I mean, that, there's no,
Parking, parking.
it's parking,
Standard, the parking being rear.
it's downtown parking.
Screen that.
Yeah, architecturally compatible, capability of fence would be acceptable in the ordinance.
Now, the whole southerly exposure next to the church's parking lot would be, we wouldn't need to screen that, would we? It's, what are we screening it from, or who? It's another parking lot.
area, they proposed a wall about 2.5 feet high. But there's no cars parking there, it's just the driveway coming in.
There are cars parking there, I park there.
Well, no, on my property,
Yeah,
it's just the driveway.
Oh, sorry, I said this, you switched, so probably there's something more relevant, which is the northern side of this property.
assuming the 3 foot height is probably.
On the right-hand side, you're looking at the right-hand side of the drawing, where the residence is.
Looking at the rear property line and the side property line, we might have. You know, we're up against.
But it's the right-hand side of the drawing.
Yeah.
Right.
The left-hand side of the drawing is a parking lot, so we certainly don't need to screen for that. Or we may have to say it's a variance, but for that piece, but you're
I don't
focusing.
see anyone parking in that acre factor, there should be like parking, I think 18-foot aisle. So parking is gonna be in the back. I just read the ordinance to require.
Yeah.
some kind of screen. And I could not see anything on this sign.
There's a lot of shrubs back, there's a lot of.
Those
stuff
shrubs
back
don't
there.
count, Bob? I think.
Those shrubs, I'm gonna let John comment on them.
The shrubs.
The back
Yeah.
property
On
line
their property or?
on this
No,
property.
they're proposing to plant.
Yeah,
Or stream of shrubs.
Right, so
They're not calling me.
there's about 2 feet between driveway and property line. It's a slope on the plan that's, probably 2.5 foot drop. I'm not sure they can make that grade the way they show. They might need another wall back there, but that's another question. But the landscaping that they're showing there is really not appropriate for that limited space. I mean, they're showing Colorado spruce trees.
Yeah, I agree. These are.
Our landscape architect looking at that. And I sent it over to the.
Okay.
He's going to whole landscape.
And then we have to be concerned, the church parking lot is higher, right?
Yes.
yeah,
So with the church, maybe you want to screen that because the height of the car lights would be shining into the building.
It's so rare.
no, because the back of the building is garage.
Well, they got, there's some,
There's some living space.
There's some little minor living space there.
So they would be screening it from the church parking.
right.
Well, technically, the church parking lot should have put the screening up when they converted it to that parking lot. They were there first, they should have the screening, so they're not in compliance, right? Are they in a
The
different zone?
the ordinance came after that, so I'd have to go back.
No, but just for the quality of life, you've got headlights shining into your building.
There's nobody using that parking space at night. It's empty.
Yeah. It's an overflow.
It's an
lot.
overflow lot for guests.
Okay.
But I'm just saying it, the reality is
I think it does have.
I'll park there to go to the Claremont Tavern and walk through this property to get over there. I mean, that's what happens right now, and that's not gonna be able to be doable anymore, so.
You might be able to sneak in a walking path for you.
Just a comment on this.
Can Mr. Chairman give an easement to walk
Yeah.
down the driveways?
Most of the time.
If you get it done,
I'm sorry, Bob, what was the point, Bob?
There is the total exchange for the lot, that parking lot,
Yeah.
it's not accessible to them that much around the tavern.
Right.
It's.
I guess I have long legs, so.
Yeah.
I guess-
Here's a combination lot.
It's usually changed.
I'm viewing that as a side effect of the application. It's like, I'll lose that.
Depends on which way
Not
you
a
go,
problem.
from or to the tavern.
What are we I think they said yes, we said yes, that the proposed plantings were potentially should be adjusted. And it sounds like at a minimum on the right-hand side of this drawing, from the rear to the right, we expect screening.
Yeah.
And then it's a question of,
The board's gonna approve this
right,
tonight. They'd like to identify all the variances.
No, I think I agree,
we're not gonna approve this tonight.
Or alternatively, if there's a more efficient way of our board professionals doing their reports rather than doing it on the fly now during the public hearing, and having an opportunity to do it, and then in the interim, between now and the next scheduled hearing date for this application, that's an alternative.
Yeah, we certainly, appreciate the feedback. We're here, we're listening. If Mr. Brightly wants to provide any more issues, I mean, certainly we can get them.
These aren't issues, okay? You asked possibly for a vote tonight. So we need to know what variances are being granted.
No.
Like he did ask for a vote.
He did, I didn't
In
hear
the
it.
beginning, he would, if we got there.
I said we would address where we see where we were at the end of the hearing.
Are you now simply asking for feedback while we're all here in anticipation of a report coming from both board professionals and a hearing on a subsequent date to finish the matter? But then maybe Mr. Bright can give you a few more.
I'd like to hear what else Mr. Bright.
What else was significant? I think Hal said to Bob, what's significant? Because we know there's lots of stuff.
Well, like I said, I think if there's a variance requested, that's significant.
Is it? It is.
Well, I'll be going through the plans as my part of my review.
Fine, we're not gonna vote.
No, we're not gonna vote.
More than happy to
They
do
can
a letter.
deal- They can deal with it next hearing.
Prefer to have it in writing before the meeting.
Yes, yeah, well, and it's gotta go into that long
No, I
list
asked
of.
a significant
Steve's-
question,
Yep.
because I was under the impression that we were not gonna vote.
Correct,
Just to help the applicant and everybody move it forward.
Yes.
If there's some fees right now, reserving all rights.
are there any other variance-oriented items on your list?
So, the plan shows 20-foot aisle from the 18-foot parking spaces and then an additional 8 feet. Okay, so the intent of that 8 feet is, like, to ask what that, is that needed?
Additional maneuvering space, yeah.
There is a maneuvering plan on sheet 7. that
Yes.
is extremely difficult to read and not to scale, but it doesn't appear that you're using that entire deck. Maybe, maybe only half of it. So if we don't need 8 feet, if we only need 5 feet, 4 feet, we have room for landscape. And the setback may be a variance if we're inside of 5, but that's a question for John. So, right now, they're about 2.
So you're saying, look at the maneuvering and pretend you had to plant a tree. And could you adjust the layout, so that they could accommodate a tree, whatever, shrubberies, or trees, whatever. We're pointing that out as a suggestion.
And the ordinance, the ordinance is, to me, didn't write it, it's not that clear to me whether this is considered parking. Approach.
Okay.
It's 1 foot, then 1 spot, basically 2 feet across the back, then it gets to 5 feet, and then it go away.
It's impervious, but not necessarily parking. That's the point. And the ordinance is around parking. I guess this would be a parking aisle.
Yeah,
Potentially.
it's part and parcel to the circulation.
Right.
To access parking. And when we look at parking lots, we don't discount distance with aisles
Right.
necessarily.
Yeah, I looked at 8 foot wide as being available for parking for guests, because, you have a 24-foot backup aisle. I thought maybe that was a parking line, a parking place or something.
All right, so you're proposing any parking spaces in the back of the property? That's the question. Or is it what you testified to, which is there are 2 in the garage and stacked 2 behind it, so in theory, there would be 12
Yes.
parking spaces.
They only count as 3.5.
3.5.
Oh, and it's stacked, okay.
That they have that one.
But, and the other, in looking at these, circulate, the turning templates. It's hard to read, but what is the size of the Ford E350?
You respect that?
No, I'm saying why, and the question is, why is there a need to do 2? Just take the most critical one is what you're doing.
Well, the E350 is the largest, and boy, I can't read it either. 20 feet, I think.
Long back.
So what I'm saying is, if it worked for that, then why do you need plotting in the smaller vehicle?
Just to show what's better.
Just plot the more critical vehicle you're gonna use, make it a bigger scale, so it's easier to read.
Well, you can, except what he's saying is, yes, it's tricky, it's, not wonderful if you're driving a 350, but by the way, most people aren't gonna be driving 350s, they're gonna
They do it
be
for the
driving
passenger
their
vehicle.
little, right? So,
I don't think.
you'll go do the 350 and do a passenger vehicle?
No, that's it, I don't see the need for 2 different vehicles. Just use the larger vehicle. The larger vehicle.
It's the small ones.
He understands that.
Okay.
And the point is, not to just say, here's the worst possible case, everybody has two 350s in their garage, and it sucks if you're in unit A, okay?
Okay,
He's saying, okay, unit A might have a 350, but also they've got a little car, they've got a Tesla, they have something. And it won't have a problem, so it's not gonna be a problem for every occupant of
But I
this
think
unit.
that the problem
That
is,
was a
is the same whether it's the 350 or the passenger car. So pick one,
Yeah,
fly,
just pick one and say, well, this is worst case.
yeah,
That's what Hal's saying.
and it makes it easier to read.
Computer is already.
I don't know.
All right, what, sorry,
Just one
Bob,
more question, that might not be critical, the balconies along here, do they extend across the whole width of that building? Either, I guess, second floor balcony?
Not the entire way, no.
Sorry, Bob, what was the question?
If you look at the,
the rear balcony,
the west elevation view, I think.
Well, yeah. The intent is that we have a wide trim that becomes a balcony. And when it's not a balcony, we turn it into the building and follow along the curve of the building. So you can see the balconies on my second floor plan. And on the unit A, the leftmost unit, it doesn't extend out into the drive.
Balconies extend across the full width of each unit.
Except for unit A.
Okay, right.
Where they're done.
Right. So, that second floor balcony, how far is it from the property line, the corner of it?
Well, we agreed to chop off the bay and we can chop off the balcony as well.
Because it's just, I mean,
you mean the north property line where it's the 5-foot setback?
Yes.
right now, currently, it's about 1.5 feet or so from the property line, it's gonna be about 10 feet above.
They're gonna adjust
above the
that,
neighbor's property,
Yeah.
so not.
no naked sunbathing, okay, fine. They were gonna fix that. So they're in compliance with the setback. Cool, okay, those are the highlights, and then the rest are all the details, and you'll have details, John will have details, and our.
My only question, Mr. Chairman, is, have you heard some of the feedback? The report, are we gonna get a revised plan that actually based on report on, or do I just review this?
Probably have to add them, so.
Mr. LePage? I think that the question was,
Before we write our reports, are we gonna get a revised plan? Do you wanna take some of the feedback you got tonight? You wanna wait till all our comments come in and deal with it one last two, but you know, when we done.
It's a great question with a lot of variables. We've submitted a couple rounds of plans and I haven't been too lucky. I also don't know when the next hearing will be or will not be, or when they're gonna schedule, so that might influence
Yeah.
the order of things. If it's a quick turnaround, we'd like to get your plans and we can probably work together. If it's not so much of a quick turnaround, then I guess we'll.
Well, we have one meeting in December.
Yeah, if this could all come together and all these comments be collected and so forth, then I think, I'm inclined to think we could deal with it this thing in December 14th.
What else is on the agenda?
Two things,
Yes.
the 80 Minebrook Road and,
we have
63,
well, maybe it's only
two,
two, if
'Cause
of the mine broke.
60, 80 Minebrook and 60, and
Bernard's
63 Bernard's Ave are on the schedule. It's taken off 18 Mount Airy,
Right, and then, okay.
but
Is there, will there be time for the three? I know one's almost done, if I recall correctly.
Well, but that's only 2 weeks.
And that's only 2 weeks.
it's really a matter of whether all you guys can come together in, harmoniously and your preference too.
Yeah,
What do you want to do?
So I would love to be able to move forward on the 14th. I think we can do it. I think there's a lot of discussion because there's a lot of input from a lot of people. But I think at the end of the day, I think we are pretty close to having a final plan. I mean, I don't want to say nitpicky because it's not, these are significant things of each of them. But we're not talking about from the last hearing, there were big changes.
Yes,
These,
yes.
you know, putting in a shrub here and there to comply and maneuvering things a foot or so are not big issues any longer. So I think that I would be ready to go forward, and hopefully have a final plan on the 14th.
So you're asking the board professionals to do the reports based on the current plan.
So,
Yeah, I think so. We could simultaneously too, like, we can all work together, our professionals can work with you, letting you know, well, even if you put it in there, we've identified things we're going to address, we know what we're going to address, and we can work with you to let you know. What we're gonna address.
It would be the same thing that we had reports available tonight, you know.
Just check it off.
you would be working off this even though we've been enhancing this plan now. You've
You
heard,
know, some of the conditions are gonna be correct.
What I can suggest is we do a report based on,
this,
and then the applicant brings exhibits on the changes at
Right.
the time of hearing to say, this is what we discussed at the last hearing.
right,
Here are the exhibits, what it would look like, here's a revised, this is an
Right.
exhibit that shows the changes in response to the comments we received. And
Right.
How about that?
Yeah, I think that's a great idea, and like, additionally, you know, if there's some minor tweaks, even at the next hearing, if we can also make that a condition of approval on a couple of these minor things, like the shrubs and whatnot, and then the species of the plantings, I mean, those things can all be addressed after the fact. We already stipulated that we would make it a condition to get the final sign off by the historic, preservation, so. Yeah, so those types of things, again, there are some minor tweaks that may occur after the fact. We just want to make sure that we address all the big ticket
but
concerns.
the important thing is, what John just said, is we're proceeding with this as the operative plan. That you would come back, you would have exhibits to show how the adjustments.
Yes.
And all the other stuff that's been itemized. As opposed to you having to figure out and develop and set a new set of plans up. In 3 or 4 days, basically, I think, because we have 4 days.
Yes, correct, because
10 days in advance, right?
And I'll identify the variances and they can
Yeah.
take them off
Yeah.
as they go along at the hearing and they can show.
Exactly,
how they're
and the
complying.
exhibit.
Right, and most of this will be subject to what we had already stipulated and
No
testified to.
shock, is it's just the procedural aspect and the timing and whether you can get, you know, it kind of has to come, it all has to come together. And I think John's idea is the right one, which is to use this as the base.
I agree 100%.
And with the approach.
And yeah, I agree with that. We also have, just to be clear for tonight, go ahead, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Well, we have to ask the public about questions and we have to proceed. We're in
Yeah.
the middle of testimony right now. So you're saying we have someone else too, right? So,
I was gonna get there, yeah, just to, so. that it
okay,
wasn't-
so.
I wasn't wrapping up.
Identifying the variances. You haven't identified all the, you're talking about McDonough.
Yeah,
I'm gonna,
well, I think we have. Oh, well, how about this?
Let's finish this witness.
I believe yes, okay, let's finish this with this.
You can always,
Then we'll
have
discuss.
comments, you can do whatever, so.
Yeah.
Is there anyone here from the public that has a question of this witness? No questions of this witness. Any final shots for anybody of this witness? I mean, not final, but. Okay, all right.
Thank you. So what I think I would like to do next is to present my planner. And he can go over at least what we understand to be the universe of variances, which I believe, in my opinion, and hopefully my planner is here to say the same thing, are pretty minor in nature, considering the overall.
Well, we haven't identified all the variances.
So, and like I said, the ones that we are clear on today, I think we can discuss them
But
briefly.
you have to come back if there's more variances.
Yes.
Why not have them come back when
Well, I know you have a packed house on the 14th, and I was hoping to make it help you guys out as well, so that we didn't jam up the calendars. Because I'd like to proceed on the 14th.
Suggestion, John?
the applicant's,
Prerogative.
call.
Yeah.
No, it's the prerogative of the board. It's
Well,
not- And your bylaws, I think, no more testimony after, so
No, no,
that's up to the board. I don't have an objection, but.
Well, is
They
it
change
productive?
the
Maybe that's the
But
better
the change in the plan is may create different
And
variances.
Mr.
It will.
McDonough or, you know, whoever is gonna testify is gonna have to address it at the next hearing. Either
Right.
way.
To split it up, frankly, if we don't yet have a detailed report as to exactly what deviation relief is necessary, by way of variance or exception, and to have.
It might be
fans-
wasted chew, basically. is what
I don't know that we'd be saving any time for anyone or any cost for anyone by doing it in that disjointed fashion.
I can't speak for Mr. McDonough, but I know if I were in his shoes, I want everything on the table before I testify, so I know what I'm dealing with. That is kind of a moving target right now, but I'll.
That never stopped them before.
Yeah, okay. Well, was the recommendation of Mr. Simoff and professional, and we'll hold off the testimony of our professional planner so that we can give a more complete and comprehensive,
Let the third batter finish, and then when you bring up the cleanup hitter, that's.
That's really the deal.
How we usually have-
We as planners kind of like that.
look, I don't disagree. It's best to get it all out on the table in one.
I'm just looking out for a colleague. Move it around.
I want to ask the public, is there anyone here that wants commenting on this application? Which would be the next phase after the witness and so forth. Just want to be courteous to. Okay, I see none, so I have no issue with, suspending this at this point. Doing all the magic that needs to occur and, entertaining a motion to carry with no notice, further notice.
I'll move to carry with no notice. You put this first in the agenda so we can
Okay,
get them in and out.
Get John in there now.
December 12th? 14th.
14.
Oh, 14th.
So that's.
We just need an all in favor, right?
Carried without further notice to December 14th, 7:30 PM, the same location. In time, the extension of time to act is the end of the month of December. Can be documented for the clerk or myself, if necessary, we already have it. And that would be the motion which was made, I believe.
Yes.
Yes.
That's second. Seconded by Vance.
We just need a vote or.
No, just all of it.
All in favor, aye, any opposed? No.
Public Scotty, carried without further notice to December 15th. I know, so that's why I got
Even the seven sheet days 11.
Call Gallagher or the, yeah, that's updated 11/16.
Yes, so we'll talk.
I don't know. It's sort of.
Thank you, everyone. I really appreciate it. Look forward to seeing you guys again, on the board.
No, it is.
Hold on.
We, have any further business? Board member.
No visitors. No executive session, correct?
No executive session.
Okay.
Now we're adjourned.
All right, so.
It was you down.
Are we talking about? For the.